Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here. It's Thursday, and we've had 2 days off, so we're doing an off-season scheduled Thursday Think Tank. And I have the phone out, and I will take calls today on the air, and you will hear your voice through the phone on the air also, and we can have interaction and discussion with the Raptor Freak family. So the phone number is up in the member tab for this channel on YouTube. If you are a member of this channel, you have access to that phone number. Also, if you're a member of the Facebook group, you have access to the phone number also. So I'm taking calls at any time during today's stream. So if you want to voice your opinion, we're talking about the Raptors being at the bottom of the standings in the NBA. They're at the absolute bottom, the worst record in the league. And it's something that hasn't happened very often with the Raptors, like since expansion days, really. Now, the other thing that we can talk about today, if you want to call in, is the 905 game yesterday. If you guys watched the 905 versus the College Park Skyhawks, we're doing a reaction to that game today also. So maybe somebody wants to call in and espouse their opinions on Urashamshe or some of the other 905ers. So the phone line is open. So if you want to call in today, number is open. Yeah, Trevor J, you can call me. I don't care if you're in Florida. I've got a new phone plan, and you can call me from the United States, Canada, or Mexico. If y'all are in Mexico and the Raptor Freak family, call me up. It's toll free. Let's go. All right, let's see what's going on today, guys. Good morning to you all. The Raptors 905 lost yesterday to the College Park Skyhawks. It was once again a game of unseriousness to a certain extent. The game started real ugly. You see all kinds of G League issues. G League gonna be G Leaguing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Lots of weird, unforced turnovers. Lots of just dribbling off your foot. Maybe you stepped out of bounds on the line. Maybe you traveled, like a little extra travel. You know, all kinds of that stuff getting called on G League, and that's why these guys got to tighten up. I think that the way it happens in G League like that is a symptom of young players just not getting trained correctly on how to play basketball by the time they get to their late teens, early 20s. That's a problem, seriously, in this world today. The kids just ain't learning basketball correctly. They see what they see in the NBA and they think that's how they do it. No, there's basic building block fundamentals of basketball that in the past people used to learn. And then you get to that level and then you can supersede that level with the kind of stuff they do in the NBA. Everybody's just trying to supersede that level and just go straight to it without actually doing the building blocks, like making your free throws, knowing the dimensions of the court, not stepping out of bounds, learning how not to travel. All those kind of things are important to be a well-rounded actual NBA player. And the sad thing is, there's a lot of jabronis running around in the G League that, sure, they're talented enough to play in the NBA. You know, they may have the body that could play in the NBA like Charlie Brown Jr., but they just don't have the professional ethics or work ethic of being a player in the NBA. That's half the problem. You know, you could go to each G League player and I could see which part of what their game is or whatever is going on with them that is holding them from being in the big league. You can go and look at them. You can find out. Some of them, it is not physical characteristics where their body is not the right size for playing in the NBA. It's not big enough. Some of them are not fast enough. Some of them are just not technically taking life seriously enough, honestly. Seriously, I see that. I see that in G League players. They don't take things seriously enough. And it's too bad because if you really want to make the big league, you really want to be in the NBA, you better take your basketball career extremely seriously. And some of y'all, like Marquise Noel, who's very short, he does. He has a lot of the fundamentals down. He knows he has to be perfect to be that height and to try and make the league. So that's the difference sometimes. There's always some sort of Achilles heel. There's some sort of weakness. There's some sort of issue with a lot of the guys in the G League, and that's why they're not full-fledged NBA players. Well, fix that deficiency. The guys who have all the gifts in the world and should be in the NBA, well, you're probably a knucklehead, and that's probably the reason why you're not in the NBA is what I'd say to that. Yeah. All right, let me go right into the chat and see what people are saying. And as I said, the phone line is open. Call me and tell me to my face what you want to say about this team. So whatever. Call me and talk to me about whatever. I don't care. It's the Thursday Think Tank live call-in show. That's what we do sometimes on Thursdays. That's right. Trevor J's first in. Commissioner of Fun. Trevor J, are you having fun today? I want you to have fun, man. You said actions show you who someone really is. Words show who they pretend to be. Wow. Wow. Actions show you who someone really is. Words show who they pretend to be. Yeah. This is kind of another version of actions speak louder than words. And yeah, that's a motto that everybody should pay attention to. You know, people can say whatever they want to say, but what they gonna do? You know, like government officials, politicians in the election cycle can promise you all kinds of things and say one thing, but what they do could be exact opposite. And they lied, and there's a lot of that going on right now. They may have said certain things about costs and groceries and things like that, and they lied because they're not going to do what they said. And that's what I'll say right now. It's like, you know, actions are not going to be happening to back up the words that were said already. And people are going to find out later, and they're going to find out they were duped, and they're going to find out they were stupid what they did on election day last week. So yeah, it is what it is. The actions will not match the words. Trust me, they will not. Usually with politicians, they're garbage. They're not saying the truth right there. Yeah, Trevor's saying, Orish, should we change the name to Quick? That boy is fast on the court. You want to call him Quickly? You want to call him Ulrich Quickly? Honorary younger brother of Emmanuel? Maybe. I mean, you know, I get what you're saying, Trevor. The guy is a very slender, quick, not slender, very quick on his feet guy for his size and wingspan, that it is tantalizing to the prospects of what the Raptors could develop in that young Cameroonian. I'm telling you, the guy is getting up and down the court like wind. And in some ways, his arms are like a windmill, and they are coming to block the shots. And yeah, we had fun last night watching Shamshay. He had his best G League game so far of the year. He got double digits in scoring, 12 points. And you know, why not? Let's do the 3 stars of the game, because I got them right here. My number 1 star of the game last night is interesting. My number 1 star of the game is the walk-on Tyreke Key. Tyreke Key has been on my stars of the game for the Raptors 905 games, all 3 of their games so far. He has done excellent each game. And, well, he was the best player for the Raptors last night, Raptors 905. He had 34 minutes. He shot 6 of 11. 3 offensive rebounds for 4 rebounds altogether, 3 assists, 1 steal, no turnover for Tyreke Key, 14 points in 34 minutes. Yeah, he was a steady, sure shot. In fact, in the game last night, I was saying, do we have a sure shot depth chart of Dick, Battle, and Key? And, you know, in some ways, this guy is in the ilk of Jamison Battle and Grady Dick as a dependable jump shooter. Somebody's going to make those shots. Now, he may look a little round in the middle. He may look like he's built for football and not basketball. But Tyreke Key is a great baller. And that man's got a nose for putting the hoop through the basket. So he's my number 1 star right now. He's a breath of fresh air. In some ways, what I was just talking about, 905 and G League and professionalism, this guy has it. This guy has it. In his trek, as Blake Murphy was teaching us last night, he came through the college ranks down in the States, and then he went overseas and was playing in Belgium last year. And, you know, playing in Belgium, playing overseas, will get a guy to tighten up his game and get it more on point so that he can actually get a good shot to play in North America in the big league here. So, you know, Tyreke Key is a professional G League player. In some ways, I want to define this. Where there's some players in G League that are professionals, and there's some players in G League that are not professionals, and they are not playing professional level basketball. And, well, Tyreke Key, you are a professional G League player. I officially give you that designation because you do the little things like taking care of the ball and looking out for things and making your shots and your free throws and not committing turnovers and looking out for your teammates. So Tyreke Key, you are a professional G League player right now, and you could be a professional NBA player at some point. Yeah, my 2nd star of the game for the game last night is Dylan Disu. Dylan Disu came in off the bench, and he was very active. In fact, him and Shamshay were twin whirlwinds coming out there and showing up for the team and doing all kinds of great stuff. Disu was out there for 27 minutes, 4 of 7 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 3 for 3 at the free throw line. That's a professional sign. 3 offensive rebounds for 8 rebounds altogether for Disu. 2 assists, 1 steal. He did have 4 turnovers. He was a +8, though. He was the only major plus on the team. So he must have been doing something right if the Raptors 905 were winning +8 while he was on the court last night. 14 points in 27 minutes. Yeah, these aren't astounding totals. In some ways, that G League team was struggling last night, like the Raptors were the night before. I don't understand how they do this. It's like ET is the Raptors and the Geranium is the 905. And it's whatever's happening with ET is whether the flower is dying or blooming. It's like it goes both ways. It's like the geranium's blooming. Oh, all of a sudden ET's up on his feet out of the bed and he's chasing all the US government people away. Nah, see, that's a problem right there. 905, in some ways, y'all's being unprofessional reflects on the whole entire organization. And in some ways, I don't know how it seeps up to our main squad. And we see struggles like we did against Milwaukee on Tuesday night when the Raptors 905 were playing unprofessional down in College Park 2 nights around it. I'm sick of it. Y'all tighten up is what I'm saying, Andrew Jones and your team. You need to tighten up because there's too much bullshit happening out there that's unnecessary. And there's honestly guys on the bench that you're not playing, Drew Jones, that would do a better job tightening it up. And I know his name is Obanor. I'm going to tell you right now, Obanor was a steady hand for us last year. I know what to expect from him. And you're putting in jabronis that are unprofessional G League players above Kevin Obanor. What are you doing? Put Kevin Obanor in there. I'm serious. Don't do this to me, Andrew Jones. Don't be giving me something to gripe on you already at the beginning of the season when that doesn't make any sense while you're doing certain things with certain personnel in your lineup. As far as like, why the hell? I mean, maybe you have an agreement with Charlie Brown that you have to start him, and that's why he showed up. Man, isn't it a sign that Charlie Brown's been on 8 different NBA teams already, that this is a knucklehead, and he hasn't found that he's worthwhile to keep around because he's a knucklehead? That's what I see. That's what I see from Charlie Brown Jr. That's what I'm saying. The third star is our prince, Ulrich Shomshe, is made one of the stars today. It's so awesome. Him and Disu off the bench are my second and third stars. Ulrich played 24 minutes. He got his most extended burn so far in his very young career. 5 of 10 from the field, so 50% shooting. And honestly, some of the misses for Shomshe last night were dunk flubs, where he dunked it and it bricked out. Seriously, he was that good last night. He was really active, and he was really getting after it. He missed his only 3-point attempt. He did take a 3 last night, and people were kind of smiling in the chat. 1 for 2 at the free throw line. Yeah, his free throw shot, we got to see it last night. It's a little unsteady. The first time he shot it was real awkward, and he missed, and he lost 2 points because of it. But the second one had much better form. He took his time, and it looked way more workable than the first one. So I think that Shomshe could end up being a pretty good free throw shooter, and he may not have the same kind of issues that big men have sometimes at the free throw line, like Shaq and Jakob Poeltl. So we'll have to see. 4 offensive rebounds for Ulrich Shomshe. He was huge on the glass. 9 rebounds altogether. 1 steal. 4 blocks for Ulrich Shomshe last night. He did have 2 turnovers, and he did foul out of the game. There are stretches where Shomshe had to go and sit out because of foul trouble. And, he had to sit out a good part of the last part of the third quarter because of having 4 fouls and being saved in the fourth quarter. But yeah, 12 points and 24 minutes, shooting on 50% with 4 blocks and 9 rebounds. That's Shomshe last night, your prince. That's right. Pretty damn good, honestly. I was very happy with seeing the rawness of Ulrich Shomshe. But, you watch that game, you see just how far he has to go. In some ways, there's still some very basic fundamental stuff that he does not know yet. And one of the things I was saying in the chat last night, he needs to get really good at positioning, whether it's rebounding positioning, as far as reading the trajectory of the ball and where it's going to bounce off of the backboard and the rim and get into that spot and anticipating it, and also positioning on defense. He's got to figure out how, because the thing about Shomshe, he's got a very talented gift of being very quick to spots quickly. And in some ways, what he has to do is be able to pivot and swing to the 2 or 3 different areas that he has to be kind of watching over. And in some ways, he has to be able to anticipate a ball swing to the other side, the weak side of the court, and he has to come around and go the other way and block on the other side of the rim. So there's some stuff he's just going to get more savvy about with experience, reps, and more time on the court in a 905 jersey. but everything looks real promising, and he's a specimen. And I'll tell you right now, College Park was noticing him last night, their announcers, and they were finally saying something about him. A lot of people have been ignoring Shamshay so far, but the announce crew last night, opposing announce crew, saw what I see in him as far as like this dude has the physical parameters to be something great down the road. And they were talking about it. It's like, what a great young project this 18-year-old from Cameroon is for the 905. It's crazy. It's really good. Ulrich Shamshay, you're my hero, my guy. And keep going, man. Keep going. Trevor's saying Noel continues to be one of the best and most exciting point guards in the G League. Noel. You mean Noel. Marquise Noel. Noel. Form is the key to fundamentals. Yes, we love Marquise Noel, even if his term with the Raptors was not as long as we wished, only a year. But, you know, he's still hanging around, and he's still doing some nice things around the G League. I'm not sure which team he's on again. I forget. Was he on Washington's? He was on Washington's the last time I know in Summer League, but he could have moved on to a different team already by now. That's just the way it is. It's very transitory in that development league. And, well, I'm glad to hear Marquise had a fantastic game last night, and he put up good numbers, and he's continuing to fight his way to try and make the league. One thing I will say, Marquise, you will always be a Toronto Raptor on the NBA level because you got a game in a Raptors jersey last year, and you have made the NBA. You've got at least that. You've played in the NBA before. You can say that. You're an NBA player because you played in an NBA game for the Toronto Raptors one time last year, and that counts. That counts. Trevor's saying you guys have to watch this documentary, Uninterrupted, the real story of basketball scam dunk. They are trafficking kids from Africa. Yikes. Wow. Okay. I know Uninterrupted has done a series, and they have a lot of different stories that have happened. I mean, this is kind of the series with the Tim Donaghy referee story, right? Aren't they involved in this? Now, this is something that I've thought about recently because of, you know, Basketball Africa League and, you know, a lot of stuff that's been going on recently with, you know, more players like Shamshay coming over. You know, this is something that historically has been an issue. And, you know, I haven't watched the documentary, so I can't totally espouse on it specifically to what it is in the subject matter. But I've heard about this kind of stuff where college recruiters in the United States will entice young African players to come over and join their college programs. And what basically they do is they use them for their talent, and they don't really help them out. Like, you know, this is the difference with what we're doing with Shamshay. In fact, this may be the reason why Shamshay's better off coming to see us and going straight to the G League and being on the Raptors right away than going to a college. Because what happens is historically, and there's a lot of different kind of stories. There's different levels. You got Olajuwon, you got people like Mutombo, you know, that came over and were extremely successful, did very, very well for themselves in all kinds of ways. Sure, the opportunity is there, but like everything, there's a different ends of the spectrum. And some of the players come over and they hit, like very few, like Mutombo and Olajuwon in the past. They try and promise to these young African men that they're going to be this, and they're going to get this. But what happens is they come over and they're not at the talent level that, you know, is up like at the Olajuwon or Mutombo level to try and get the NBA, like absolute talent. And they basically don't come here, and they come here and they don't have a support system. They don't have people that kind of like are really looking out for them in the right way. And it's kind of like a scam, but it's not really like a scam. They get the opportunity, but they're left high and dry. And often, sometimes they'll come over and they'll get into a bad financial situation because they think that they're going to get a lot of money, and they don't. And their career doesn't pan out. And so I don't know. I haven't seen the documentary. I think this is the phenomena they're talking about, and how like some young Africans are getting left high and dry. And if you're not a marquee name and you're unknown, it just kind of gets swept under the rug, and nobody actually knows about a lot of these cases because nobody's putting any spotlight on it. So I'll have to watch this. Thank you, Trevor, for bringing up an interesting documentary. And yeah, this is a phenomenon where it can be irresponsible of, you know, especially with like junior colleges, like Division II teams in the United States, and maybe some of the bigger colleges also that aren't as well renowned, maybe getting guys that are at the end of the bench from Africa and selling them a whole idea what it's going to be, and it's not what it is. And then they end up getting the shaft in different ways. There's a lot of exploitation of foreign workers in different places, in different industries, in different ways. And in basketball, that happens too, just so y'all know. It does. Trevor J saying Victor is the fourth youngest player to score 50 points last night. Yeah, Victor blew up and got that David Robinson number last night. I was very surprised to see that. The Spurs winning also. A fantastic game. The Spurs fans are saying Devin Vassell coming back was a big help in this. Yeah, this is a good sign. In some ways, Victor's been settling for the outside too much. He mixed it up, and boom, he gets a 50-point game. That's a lot smarter and better. And, yeah, Chris Paul has a factor in it with getting so many assists towards him also. So good job by the big alien, Victor Wembanyama, the fourth youngest player to score 50. Yeah, interesting. Nako's here. Good to see Nako the Nacho. Pretty sure we're the most banged up team also. Yeah, we might be. We might be. That's a good point, Nako. And if you were you probably on your way to work, I would say call me and elaborate on it if you feel like it. But I know that at 10 o'clock, you probably got to go clock in. So maybe you call me in the next 2 minutes and we talk about this real quick. Yeah, I think this is right. I think that especially, well, Philadelphia could have a good case as far as with two main stars out with George and Embiid, but we have Quickly and Barnes out, so that equates it. And then also we've got a whole slew of guys from the bench out too. And it's even so bad that DJ Carton could not play for 905 last night, which was a real detriment to their team with direction and point guard leadership. Not having Carton available last night was a problem. So even on the 905 G League level, there's injury happening with DJ Carton not being able to play last night. The Hornets, not the Hornets, the Pelicans, they could have a good case for being the most injured team also this year. They've been having all kinds of different people not able to play. All of a sudden, I think, who is it? Zion, DeJounte, Jose Alvarado. Yeah, they've got a laundry list of players that are out too. It's not a competition, Gerald, and I don't want to win this competition. I got a little frog in my throat. Let me get it real quick. All right. Stargate is in the house. The man that beat the machine, the man that escaped the machine. Let's see what Stargate is saying today in the Raptor Freak call in Thursday think tank. Let's see what he thinks. Let's see. Don't look now, but the Spurs are 500. Maybe Victor can contribute to winning basketball after all. Hey, if they're turning it around, this is awesome. In some ways I could have predicted this because of Chris Paul's arrival. Harrison Barnes doesn't hurt to have around either. A little bit more veteran on a very young green team in the rookie year of Victor Wembanyama that really didn't know what they were doing because they were so young and green. And, well, you put in that old vet Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, a little bit more steady. And, maybe there's an introduction period at the beginning of the season, the first 10 games of the season. And, well, Chris Paul's getting more comfortable now, and they're getting to know each other. And, boom, all of a sudden, maybe good things are going to start happening. Yeah, 500. San Antonio's 500 right now. Well, what do you know? Maybe I'll be rooting for the Spurs in the postseason this year because I do like the Spurs a lot, and I do want to see Victor be successful. If I've derided him at all in the last couple months, it's because I worry about his body type and whether it is actually going to translate. But, hey, the results will prove me wrong. I'll go with that. That's what I'll say right there. Yeah. Kareem is here. Good to see Kareem Thomas. He was in the 905 chat with us last night, being funny, being witty, making 2 Chainz jokes. That's right. 2 Chainz is always at the College Park Skyhawks game because he's the owner of that team. And for both of the games that they played this week against College Park Skyhawks, 2 Chainz was sitting front row center at the game, sitting right up front. And I thought it was a joke. It's like, because listen, I'm going to be honest right here. I've been to Atlanta a lot of times. My family lives there. There's a lot of dudes running around in Atlanta that look like 2 Chainz. That's just the damn truth. Seriously, you could be walking down the street and it's like, hey, 2 Chainz. It's like, man, I'm not 2 Chainz. My name is Darius or something like that. It's like, there's dudes that have his look or all around there. So when he said, oh, 2 Chainz is at the game, that actually is him. I was like, what? Really? And it was him. But I was like, you know what? 2 Chainz, if you're the owner of this team, why? Because Kareem was calling for this at halftime. He's saying, why don't we have a 2 Chainz concert at the halftime of the 905 versus the College Park Skyhawks? Why not? And I was like thinking about it. Why doesn't he do this every game? Maybe they get better attendance because there's like maybe a handful of people there. I would say there's maybe 100 people at those games, if 100, not even maybe. Why not 2 Chainz? Why not? You're a business owner. You're a part owner of this team. You're an investment in it. Why don't you use your power to entice more people to come to the games and say, I do a mini concert after in the middle of every single Skyhawks game. I'm going to do a mini concert and maybe you get your attendance up. Seriously. But nah, he's too busy sitting on the bench, sitting on the crowd and just chilling the whole time. And they've got a dance pack out there. I'm just saying, man, doesn't this make sense, 2 Chainz? If you're a part owner, you can be there anyway. Why don't you just set up and just do like 1 or 2 songs real quick at the halftime? Maybe you'll get more attendance. Seriously, you might draw more people just on that. Now, I know it may cheapen your musical career. People will be making fun of him. He's like, oh, 2 Chainz did a concert to 200 people at the G League game last night. I mean, I know there's some pitfalls and traps in this that could be a problem. But what are you doing, man? You're a businessman. Use your strengths to help your business and get those people in the door to watch the College Park Skyhawks because they get a free 2 Chainz concert at halftime. It just makes sense to me. You don't have to be Windhurst to Windhurst this. Come on now. You don't have to be Windhursting the Windhurst to Windhurst it. Just figure it out, bro. Come on now. Kareem Thomas is saying, I'm starting to hate the G League. We got youngsters trying to develop, and we got 2-3-year vets trying to make it to the NBA. It's a bad mix in general. I just want Drew Jones to develop the players. Yeah, I've often thought about this too. There's not any single one way to handle your G League team. And all of the teams in the NBA have different kind of priorities and plans and what they do. Like one of the things that we do that kind of drives me nuts is we do switch our coach out every 2 years. The G League teams don't all do this. Some G League teams have had their coach for like 10 years, just like a Spoelstra or a Popovich. They have a steadiness in a guy that's a very good development coach that teaches the young players there, and they actually have some continuity in their system because the person's not coming in as a rookie coach like Andrew Jones, like Eric Curry before, and having to learn everything over and over again. Now, I wonder about that. Do these teams that have a longer standing G League coach that kind of keeps them kind of grounded, do they do better in certain ways with continuity and teaching and development, and also that the coach is more savvy with handling the issue that Kareem just talked about? I wonder about that. The other thing is that some of these G League teams stack their rosters certain ways to enhance the upper team. And sometimes they really stock it with certain types of players that they might want to have a deep cupboard for. Or, sometimes they may avoid the kind of players that, you're talking about that get like not very good players and keep your development players around and overplay your rookies and your people that are in your plans. And these other guys, they may be on the team, but they're really there just for replacement. Yeah, this has been an issue the last few years where we have people that are trying to make the league, maybe something like Jay Sean Page or Charlie Brown Jr., and they're kind of not with the idea of what we're trying to do. They have their own individual agendas. And in some ways, that the frustration Kareem's espousing on is not being able to see Arish Shamshay get to do more because people are being selfish and not sharing the ball. There's a lot of that. There's 2 players on this 905 team so far this year that are annoying the hell out of me. And they are very much selfish players for the most part. And that is Charlie Brown Jr. and Kennedy Chandler. Those 2 guys are all in it for themselves, and I can tell. And in some ways, and this is what they said on the broadcast last night, to get in the big league, you need to be successful and win. But these guys will not allow themselves to be successful because they're so call my own number and drive or take the shots and don't pass it at all kind of guys. And that's a problem. These guys may think they're getting more of a spotlight if they just ball hog and try and score over and over again themselves. But honestly, that's a turnoff. And that's not conducive to getting you up the big league. It's so counterintuitive. And that's a big problem. But yeah, I get it too, Kareem. It's annoying. And I don't know what Luke Wynn and Andrew Jones could do to make the ecosystem of the G League a little bit more like what we need for the big squad, as far as a ecosystem for the young developing players like Shamshay to get the time with each other. Maybe that's just part of the development. You're going to be in this league with knuckleheads. They're going to hog the ball, and you're going to get froze out. And welcome to the NBA. That's just how it is, Ulrich. You got to – how it is, and this is, easier to learn down here with Charlie Brown Jr. than when you get up on a big club and you're just not getting to play because of this or this. It's a tough situation, and in some ways, I still don't think that our G League team is run to the most effective ways that could be helping our team overall. I think that this is, in some ways, it's like a philosophical difference to have the G League the way it is, as far as if you want to develop young players and you want to, and players want to try and get to the big league, and they're just trying to be selfish and trying to get themselves up there. So it is a real conflict between those two kind of things. And I don't know, how do you deal with it? Do you deal with it in discipline? Do you deal with it in playing time and who you're getting to play and start? Do you deal with it in this is the coach, listen to coach? Because some of this is that the players don't listen to coach. Let's just put it that way. And in some ways, Andrew Jones has to be having a spine and saying, you know what, I'm benching you for the next game. You're getting a DMP because you're not doing this. In some ways, that's what needs to happen, is that, guys that are going out of the realm of what they want them to do down there, whether I've said in the last couple of days, if they miss free throws too much, just bench them. Have some sort of meritocracy, merit system, as far as like, you're doing really well, you're going to get more minutes, you're sharing the ball, you're being productive, you're getting more minutes. But if you're a knucklehead and you're a black hole and you're missing free throws and you're missing layups and you're not taking care of the ball correctly and you're having a lot of turnovers, you're DMPing. I mean, seriously, there's got to be some repercussions. There's got to be some consequences, and there's got to be some sort of reward system for guys that are doing it right. Because there are guys doing it right on 905, but there are guys that are not doing it right on 905, just like last year. And it's annoying because they mess things up and they muck it all up with them not doing it right. Now, I can understand Dylan Disu stepping out of bounds on one play because he's green, he's learning. That's a rookie mistake. But, going up to the free throw line and missing like 3 or 4 free throws where they count like 2 points or 3 points each because G League rules are different, that is a real big cardinal sin to me. And also silly turnovers, as far as like dragging your pivot foot there were a lot of travel calls last night in the game, but they were calling them on both sides. And we saw travel call on College Park in the fourth quarter with like 3 minutes to go. So yeah, the refs were on it with a very tight whistle. In some ways, the refs are learning how to call games at the G League and get better themselves. And they need to call those fundamental small calls like a travel or a step out of bounds. But they also need to teach the players that, yeah, you're going to be accountable for playing clean, ethical basketball and doing it the right way. And so that's a very important thing, to have a tight whistle on the G League and letting these young refs learn their craft along with the young players learning their craft also. Yeah. It's annoying. G League is annoying. Yeah, don't hate it. Just I wish that it was going better, honestly. But I feel like because of the injuries on the main squad, our best G League available guys are not able to be on the Mississauga team right now. And that's a big phenomena for why they're struggling and not doing so well right now. I feel like if Shed was running that team in the first 3 games, that team would be 3-0 right now, because he would have them, he'd be a great floor general to keep things calm and kind of direct things. And at the talent level on the G League, Jamal Shed can be a very potent, powerful player on the court. And it's too bad, because in some ways the injuries to the Raptors with the main injuries is really hurting our depth to all the way down to the 905, and they're not competing and doing as well. And this has happened in the past too. Darko's going to need those guys to be bodies on the main roster when so many guys are on the injury list. Those guys are displaced from the other team, and well, the other team has less talent because of that. So that's a lot of part of it. So in some ways, it's annoying that the G League guys have started on a bad start, 1 and 2, because honestly, if the Raptors had been healthy, they probably would be 3-0 right now, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. Nako's saying I call, but I'm on the clock and the customer might come in. So he's actually at his work already. Okay, Gerald. Well, you have a good day. working at the store right now. And yeah, maybe if the customer comes in, you could call in with the customer and get them to chime in on what we're talking about today with the Raptors and their record and being the worst team in the league. Seriously, I saw on ESPN right now, guys. ESPN power rankings have come out yesterday, and well, it's not good. Let's just put it that way. We have dropped in the power rankings for the third straight week. And but they're not putting us at 30, which is interesting. Even though our record is the worst record in the NBA right now, they are saying two teams are worse than us still, and that is the Washington Wizards and the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz 30th and Washington 29th. We are 28th. We have dropped from 26th to 28th with a 2-10 record. And yeah, after this is what they're saying. After seeing his playing time drop last season, Chris Boucher, the last remaining player from the Raptors' 2019 championship team, didn't figure to be in Toronto's long-term plans. He's responded this season by averaging a career-high 11.5 points per game, boosting his usage while continuing to score at high efficiency. Given the Raptors sit at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, Boucher could be an interesting trade target on an inspiring contract that pays him a reasonable $10.8 million this season. Yeah, I mean, they're being nice to us. In some ways, I expected them to drop us all the way to the bottom. Instead, they only dropped us 2 spots to 28. Yeah, it's too bad. It is too bad. But yeah, we technically have the worst record in the league. We really do. And that's what we're talking about today. It's crazy. It's crazy. Smooth's here. Good to see Smooth Brown, man. Blue Jays very much in play for Juan Soto. I'm worried this might be an Ohani situation all over again. Yeah, not Raptors related, but my first love, baseball. Sorry, guys and girls. It's okay. It's Blue Jays related, and there is a bit of Blue Jays coverage here. I'm not very knowledgeable on the MLB and the Blue Jays currently. I don't even know their whole roster or anything, but I'll always chime in on Toronto stuff and especially Blue Jays stuff. So it's not totally off topic. Now, I know about Juan Soto. He's a big name in the MLB. He is a kind of on that level, not on the same level as Ohtani, but he's closer than the average player. And I know that he's very highly sought after. So it could very well be this is another let's fuck with the Blue Jays nation and get their hopes up. And then it's not going to happen the way it is supposed to. This is something that I've noticed at times. During the 90s, the Blue Jays did a really good job with attracting free agents. And they had those teams with the World Series 2 in a row, or two in the 90s, which were fantastic. And, there was a little bit of a free agency boon period for the Blue Jays around the mid 2010s, Josh Donaldson era, where they were actually attracting some very good free agents there. In some ways, I feel like there is a little bit of bait and switch that goes on with the free agency for the Blue Jays. They may entice us and say something like a name like Juan Soto, but then all of a sudden this doesn't come to fruition. So, yeah, we may be right to not get our hopes up on this. But, I mean, he would be a help. He would be a help. And in some ways, yeah, are you trying to Ohtani us, people? Come on now. Do they troll the Blue Jays nation just like they troll the Raptors nation in U.S. media down south? They probably do because they are the only Canadian team in the MLB, just like we're the only Canadian team in the NBA. So I don't know. Maybe there's some trolling going on here. But if it happens, that'd be really good for the Blue Jays roster. It would be. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you, MJ. You guys can give me a call if you want. The phone line is up. And if anybody wants to call me today, they're more than welcome to. Also, we're going to do a Raptor Freak meet and greet on December the 8th at the Paramount Fide Food Center. It's a Raptors 905 game against Westchester Knicks. The tip-off is at 2 o'clock. And I will be trying to get down there for, at least maybe an hour before the game because it's fun to get the ambiance and kind of take in the arena. And maybe that's a good time for us to get together and kind of hang out and talk or meet up before and before the game starts, and we have to pay attention to it. So, that's what I'm thinking. Around 1 o'clock, 1:30, people show up and come down there. I'll be down there already. And the other thing is that they've announced this week that it's a season's giving game, which basically is this, guys. The Raptors 905 do a great program every year where they have a can drive. And for the holidays, to help out the needy and people that need food, they encourage you to bring an unexpired canned good to the game to donate. So in some ways, if you're coming to the Raptor Freak meet and greet on December the 8th to go to the Westchester Knicks game on a Sunday afternoon, please think about bringing some food items to donate to their drive, because it is a specialty game for that. But yeah, once again, and if this goes really well, we get a good attendance, we might do this again right away in January for the Valley Suns G League game on a Sunday at 2 p.m. also. I like the format of the 2 p.m. on Sunday. I know those are well attended because it's on the weekend and families will go and stuff like that. So it should be a good time. It should be very much a good time. So we'll have to check it out. You'll have to check it out. That's right. Kareem saying, Blue Jays bringing Juan Soto is such a lateral move. We are not ready for that superstar. But then again, it could generate seats, sales, and TV views. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about what's going on with the Blue Jays. I just know that the front office is not very trusted, is not feeling like very confident in the front office. I know that about them at least, because I can tell they've been middling and they've kind of had not very good success for a while. And it's too bad. It's too bad. Vlad Guerrero is very proud to be a Blue Jay and he wants to continue to be a Blue Jay. So build a team around him that can compete is what I'm saying right now. Smooth saying Juan Soto is the best pure hitter in the game, only 26. Not likely that the Blue Jays get him. I'm worried that they're being used as leverage for the New York teams. Yeah, it could be. That sounds like that's probably true. But once again, you guys, all right, a little bit of Blue Jays is fine, but this is not the Blue Jays freak. And I've touched on this subject probably to the point where I can't espouse on it in any knowledgeable way at this point. Smooth saying, anyways, this is a Raptors channel. I have to stop myself. Well, you're excited about the prospect of the possibility of Juan Soto, and that's perfectly human. In some ways, that's perfectly human. If you want, call me, Smooth, and you can tell me exactly on the phone everything about Juan Soto over the phone. I don't mind that. Seriously, I don't mind that. Let's see. Carlos saying, haha, I love the ET reference. Morning, Lex, and most gracious freaks. Yeah, that's an old school a movie that's pretty awesome. I mean, if you're a kid around when it came out, it could be traumatizing. Yeah, there were parts of ET that were absolutely terrifying. But also at the same time, there was some really heartwarming moments. And it's just an amazing movie in some ways. You know, like, man, there's a lot of to be learned from ET. Trust me. Don't trust the government is one of them. Don't trust the government is probably the most important lesson from ET. That's for sure. Yeah. Kareem Thomas is saying, that's Smooth. I played AAA baseball from 7 to 13 before getting into football. We represented Ontario in the Nationals and then got blasted by British Columbia on TSN. So close to rep Canada in the Little League World Series. Wow. Wow, Kareem Thomas. We're finding out more about your sports portfolio. And you were on TSN once, competing on TV. Wow, you are a real athlete. I love that, man. I love that so much. That's cool. Carlos saying, I hope the Raps can get wins here and there. I don't want them to be the Pistons from last year. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, there's benefits to it, but there's not a whole lot of benefits. There's, sadness that comes along with that. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to drag these young men down on our team into wallowing in a really bad place. We need to get healthy. We need to get right, and we need to start collecting wins at some point this season, guys. There's a long season if you're going to lose every game, and that's no good. We don't want to do that. Yeah. Man, I hate it. I hate it. Now, the Pistons, we're going to play them tomorrow night. They have done very well. They won their first in-season tournament game against the Miami Heat, even though it was a screw-up by Eric Spoelstra and a couple other people, why the Heat lost. Still, the Pistons are not the normal Pistons, and the Pistons were dangerous to the Raptors the last couple of years anyway because of Casey factor. But Casey's been gone for 2 years now, and in some ways now the Pistons are dangerous because their talent is emerging more and more. It's like I said, they were unripe fruit, just like we are a couple of years ago or even last year. They're just now ripening, and they're coming of age for what they could be possibly doing with Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, and all them in Detroit. So they're a different team at this point. In some ways, we are coming into this the underdog. And in the past, most games when we play the Pistons, on paper, they're the underdog. But in some ways, we're going to be the underdog with them, at least with the injuries out right now. With the injuries out, yeah, they have more guys available. But yeah, they may have a little bit more of a talent edge on us at this point. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying at Kareem, nice. You better not. You're better than most, man. Yeah, yeah. He's a baseball player. He's an all-around athlete. He's like Mr. Perfect. He probably could like hit his gum into the stands or like bowl a perfect game. Yeah, he's probably like Mr. Perfect. Kareem Thomas, Mr. Perfect. We're gonna call him Mr. Perfect now. You're Kurt Hennig, bro. You're Kurt Hennig. So we're saying does not matter. The foundation was there. That's right. The foundation was there. Yeah, we just need the Blue Jays to get their act together and start winning games next year. Please. Please, please. Stargate saying, isn't Charlie Brown one of the players Rico told people not to let back in the gym in one of his runs one summer? That sounds familiar. That does sound like something that probably did happen. You know what? I could see that totally happening because the dude is like that. He seriously is like that. He's driving me nuts. And I can't stand that we're starting him right now. I know y'all are doing this because you wanted more talent on this team, but he's a knucklehead. Y'all shouldn't have brought him there. And if this is Luke Wynn's decision to sign Charlie Brown Jr. and have him on the 905, this is a fail, bro. Don't do this. There's got to be other choices out there than this dude. And this totally sounds accurate. Like, I think this is right because – there were players that Rico said he doesn't want coming around because they're knuckleheads anymore in his summer runs. And it could very well be that Charlie Brown Jr. is on that list because it makes total sense. Some of the shit he does is infuriating. And I can see where Rico would say, yeah, this is garbage, man. What are you doing? But you know what it is? Charlie Brown has such an interesting frame for a basketball player. He's got some agility. He's got very long wingspan. He's got long arms. He can actually shoot the three to an extent. But that's the thing. He's got an NBA body. He has a talent level, but he's a knucklehead and he's not fundamentally good. He doesn't take his time on free throws. He misses a lot of free throws and he's very careless with the ball. And once again, it's one of these symptoms where a guy is not taught the game properly, the basic fundamentals of being a solid player, a steady player. And you're just a big guy. You've got talent. Just go play. No, somebody needed to teach him how to play basketball correctly because he don't know what he's doing out there half the time. And it's bad. It's really, really bad. He made some fancy layups last night, and some stuff was looking okay, but there's still a lot that overshadows the good as far as what he's doing out there. Let's go look at the rest of the box scores since we're bringing up Charlie Brown right now. Charlie Brown had 31 minutes last night. He scored 16 points. He was 6 of 14, 2 of 6 from 3. He made his only free throw, so I'll give him credit for that. He only had 2 rebounds at his height in 31 minutes. So he's not really working hard. 4 assists, 4 steals. That was nice. 4 turnovers, though, also a +3 with 16 points in 31 minutes. That may have been his best game so far as a 905er last night. He did contribute, but once again, he's adding good things in some trips down the floor and absolute dreadful like kind of stuff other times. So, and Blake agrees with me. Blake's in the chat with us, Blake Murphy of the Raptors Show. And he said, yeah, I'm not that impressed with Charlie Brown. He said that when Monique asked him, what are you thinking about the 905 team this year so far? And one of the things he said was, yeah, Charlie Brown, I'm not that impressed with, is what he said. Brendan Carlson in the game last night was limited with his shots. He only shot twice, 2 of 2. He didn't take any threes. He missed his only free throw. This is one of the reasons why he needed to be switched off the two-way, guys. He's shaky. He's not confident. In some ways, he's weak sauce. In some ways, he gets pushed around. He gets the ball stolen out of his hands because he can't hold it strong enough. In some ways, he loses rebounding battles because guys just bump him off and then they grab the rebound. There's all kinds of issues with Brendan Carlson that you guys are not seeing that I saw before. And the people that are all upset that he lost his two-way, well, these justifications are right there. Yeah, he's just not aggressive. In some ways, he's got to get more angry and more fight for what he wants because in some ways, he's lackadaisical. He misses out on opportunities. He doesn't come correct. And boom, he's getting the ball stolen from him. And it's a turnover. So, yeah, Brendan played 27 minutes. And he only got 4 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, -6. Yeah, and he missed his only free throw. Yeah, not very impressive. He's had very good 905 games so far, except for last night. So, it's tough, man. I'm telling you, there's basic prerequisites for you to be an NBA player and be able to play on the big level. And he doesn't have them as a 4 or 5 right now. And that he can't play at any other position, guys. He can't play at any other position. So if he doesn't have those prerequisites for being able to hold it down as a big man in the NBA, he can't play in the NBA. And as far as like Charlie Brown, if he doesn't have the prerequisites of taking care of the ball fundamentally, he shouldn't be in the NBA either. So there's reasons why these guys are down there. Kennedy Chandler last night, 8 of 18, 0 for 2 from 3. 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers. So 9-to-2 assist ratio. That's pretty good. 16 points. Kennedy wasn't half bad. In some ways, listen, Chandler, I don't mind you going hero ball if you're going to make it all the time. That was the deal I had with JFL last year. If JFL is going to be all, selfish and just call his number every time, well, you better be fucking making the ball go in the hoop every single time. And that's the thing, Chandler. You do half the time when you're making your drives, get the ball in the hoop. And I like that. But there's a lot of times where you get in no man's land, you try and force it against a double team, and it just turns into an ugly turnover or you get blocked. And in some ways, that I'm just sick of that kind of shit. You got to use your teammates. And you getting 9 assists last night makes me feel better about you actually being somewhat of a playmaker and a point guard. Because honestly, that's what you are, man. You're a point guard. And as much as you want to call your number every single time down the court because it's G League and you're trying to make the league desperately, that's not going to get you there. You're better off if you balance it at least 50-50, where you're calling your number half the time and you're calling your teammates' number and getting them involved more too. That's a recipe for success. But in some ways, these knucklehead young point guards that are trying to make the league are always about calling their own number. And that's a big problem. And in some ways, if you did 50-50, you'd keep the other team guessing on what you're going to do coming down there. But no, they know what you're going to do. You're going to drive right down through the middle of the lane, and they know you're coming, and they're ready for you. So that's what I'm saying, Chandler. Figure this out, man. You have the potential. Unlike Charlie Brown, I see Charlie Brown's a knucklehead. Just get him out of the league. Chandler, you have potential to get in my good books, but you got to stop playing hero ball and calling your number every single time down the court. It's a big problem. Montreal's Quincy Guerrier was 36 minutes last night, 3 of 12. He did not shoot as well as he did in the first game against College Park. He was fantastic in the first game against College Park. Last night, 3 of 12. Very, very bad shooting. 0 for 4 from 3, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 4 offensive rebounds for 9 rebounds altogether. So he was the boards man last night for sure. Him and Shamshe. 1 assist, 3 turnovers, minus 12, the worst plus minus on the team last night. Quincy Guerrier with 9 points in 36 minutes. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to pile on Quincy because he's out there working hard. He's active. He's doing different kinds of things out there that are very, very good. Sure, there's some mistakes for a young player. But for the most part, Quincy's working hard. I see the effort, and man, there's some good stuff happening with him. So I'm not looking at him the same way as Charlie Brown Jr. If you ever read that magazine Highlights when you're a kid, that may be a U.S. thing. I don't know. But they had a comic strip called Goofus and Gallant, and it was about these 2 young boys, and Goofus was a goof off, and he wasn't taking life seriously, and Gallant was a gallant young man who was taking his life seriously and doing things the right way. Well, we got Goofus and Gallant. Goofus and Gallant, Charlie Brown Jr., and Quincy Guerrier. And so that's what I'm saying. So, like, you're being goofy, Charlie Brown, and you're being gallant, Quincy Guerrier. Yeah. Off the bench, Miles Burns, 9 minutes, 0 for 4, 0 for 1, 1 for 2 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 points. Miles Burns is kind of doing what he did last year. He shows athletic flash. He does some incredible drives to the basket, but he didn't score at any of his hoops that he tried to score. He had some almost getting scores, but yeah, he's an active guy. He's still learning. In some ways, there's a lot of promise with him, but he's got to get going because, man, this is your second year of G League, and in some ways, you need to show a development arc, kind of like a young man like Grady, and show that you're making strides and jumps. Tyler Perry came in for 14 minutes, 2 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 1 of 2 from free throw, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 8 points for Tyler Perry. He wasn't bad. And at points in the game last night, I was calling out Tyler Perry should be the point guard because he's playing like a point guard does. He's actually kind of looking for other guys and trying to get them involved. So, yeah, there's the rest of the box score for the 905ers. On the other side, that Joyner kid is special. He really does shoot very, very well. Jarkel Joyner, 22 points for him, 7 of 14 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. Joyner is really good. He's their draft pick over there. And then Barlow was a force down low around the basket, bumping Brendan Carlson out of the way, 8 of 13 from the field with 22 points and 13 rebounds. Yeah, those were the 2 big players for the Skyhawks last night. Joyner and Barlow were doing the heavy lifting and carrying them right now. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It is crazy. So yeah, there's your box score look at. Let's see. Kareem saying Ulrich needs steady burn. We see how versatile he is on defense. Also, he's becoming a rim runner, which is exciting to see. Yeah, yeah, he's a great lob threat. And he's also a great shot blocker. So at both ends of the court, he's going to be deciding things in certain ways. He just got to learn. He's so green. In some ways, he's so raw. You saw it. You guys have all these expectations about what you want him to do offensively and do this. He's just got to figure out how to play in the first place. And one of the things I think that he'll get a lot of his scoring off of is in transition and also from garbage points. In some ways, that's what he needs to do first. We shouldn't be calling plays for him. In some ways, he's got to just feel the rhythm of the game and figure out where he can insert himself to make things happen. And there were opportunities for that last night, much more than the first two G League games that they've had this season, where he could get out in the open floor of the court with transition and he could shine because he's a really great finisher, dunking at the hoop. And then on defense and stuff, he's looking and learning how to position himself, and he'll get better and better without fouling, and also meeting and challenging people trying to attack the rim. And he had a lot of moments where he got a foul, but he was coming with the right energy, and he did effectively stop the person from scoring. So there's a lot of promise there, a lot of promise from there. And yeah, he needs more time on the court. And I would be like this if I was Andrew Jones. If Ulrich is not in foul trouble, you keep him out there. But when he gets in foul trouble, that's when he comes and sits. Now, of course, you got to look at his breath and seeing his stamina. And if he is winded, he should be probably coming out too. But yeah, I would like to keep him out there as much as possible. I feel like when we were watching the game last night, when Shamshay was out there, like a lot of people in the chat were saying, we were doing better. And it may have been that he was a more of a scary person to be lurking around on our defense that made it harder for the Skyhawks to score. There's a couple of different factors with him in those kind of ways. And I feel like having him on the court is very, very much good in all kinds of different ways. You're right. But also at the same time, we don't want to get him to learn bad habits from some of his teammates. That's what I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Neil's here. Good to see Blackhawk. He was in the chat last night. We don't need no Giannis yet, y'all. When we have a Shamshay, he will get better. There are a lot of physical parallels between Anakamto and Shamshay. They're about the same size and the same wingspan. And, the potentials of the metrics as far as athleticism are there also. So that's the very promising, interesting thing. That's exactly right. Giannis, if he's going to leave Milwaukee, although they're turning things around since they played us, now they're starting to feel better. Could be very well that the Greek Freak is like, yeah, I'm good. I'll stay in Milwaukee now because we beat the Raptors in the IST, and now we won the next night also against the Pistons. So yeah, they're having things. We gave them a good spark of helping them, and now all of a sudden they're starting to get their shit together after a really bad start so far this season. So we'll have to see. Neil's saying Shamshay and Carlson on the floor at the same time was who and Shamshay out there together. Because, those guys are good shot blockers. Let's not get it twisted. Carlson is a good shot blocker. But for some reason, I really like Shamshay being out there with Disu as the rooks that are kind of there sweeping the backfield of the chessboard. These guys are either side. They can really come over and block strong side, weak side, all kinds of different ways. And Disu is a lot like Shamshay, not only in appearance, his body frame's a lot similar, and he has the shot blocking just like him. So I like that pairing of a Twin Towers more because in some ways it's very physical and strong, and it's also very intimidating. So yeah, Disu and Shamshay is the pairing I'm all about right there. Carlson's great and important, and the 3-point shooting is really valuable with him. But once again, he's not a good rim protector or a floor taker upper. He just doesn't hold space like a Kem Birch would, like a Jakob Poeltl does. He doesn't. He doesn't hold space, and guys can go right inside on us when he's the center. It would be 1,000 times worse in the NBA. Trust me. That's the problem. And that's the biggest criticism of Branden Carlson is he needs to be a big man that can hold space. And he can't. He doesn't. He gets pushed around. Let's see. Nako saying Noel is on the Vipers, I believe. Okay, so he's on the Vipers. Okay. Thank you for the information. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with this stuff. They're all over the place, these guys. They get switched out from team to team so quickly. Let's see. Smooth saying G League salary is $50,000. That's good money. Those guys need to invest some of that because most of them will never see the NBA. That's just the reality. Yeah. And the thing is, that's the thing that's scary for these guys in this level is that, 50,000 is not as much as they could make overseas though. So it's kind of like, well, do you really want to give up on your NBA dream? I wonder about people like Patrick McCaw. He's been playing for Delaware Bluecoats for like 3 years now. Jeffrey Doughton, Jeffrey Doughton's on a two-way, so that's a little bit different. But McCaw's taking straight up G League contracts. Is McCaw just not wanting to go to other countries in the world? Like, is he so much of a US guy? He's like, man, I don't want to go to Europe. I don't want to go to Asia. I don't want to go anywhere else. I just want to play in the States. And I don't care if I get less money. I mean, it could be the player preference and, those kind of things. But for some reason, why Patrick McCaw hasn't gone like Lorenzo Brown and gone overseas and tried to make huge amounts of money is a mystery to me. Maybe he's just not that smart. And maybe he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to play for Delaware Bluecoats. I'm cool. Nah, I don't want to go across the seas. Maybe he's an American guy who's like, I'm afraid of foreigners. And he's like, no, I can't go somewhere. I already went to Canada and it was weird enough, guys. And I don't want to go to anywhere like Lithuania. Oh my gosh, God forbid. That I don't know. I don't understand it. Why is McCaw taking that small salary in his prime years of his life when he could be making way more money overseas? Ask Leo Routens. He could tell you. He could tell you right there. I don't understand that, man. I don't understand that. Nako saying Noel and Malachi Flynn of the Austin Spurs went up against each other recently. Cool. So we had Noel versus Malachi. I was looking at the G League schedule, and Malachi is going to play the 905 later this season. Yeah, we'll have to see if Malachi has some revenge games against the Raptors 905 or not. We'll have to see if we get 50 dropped on us by Mr. Pro-Am. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Austin Spurs will be playing the Raptors 905 at some point this year. I think it's in the second part of this season, not the tip-off tournament. It'll be next January when we see Malachi Flynn against our G League level team. That'll be interesting. Smooth saying, look at Jalen Harris. He's killing it in the G and the CBL, and he can't get a sniff in the NBA. Is that the word that you wanted to use for this? The sniff in the NBA? If that's an indirect joke, it's pretty good. That's pretty funny how you put that in there. Yeah, I mean, that's where he screwed up. He had a foot in the door with us, and he had a really good path. But then he was intoxicated at the end of a post-game interview. He was really out to lunch, man. And you could tell, like, when somebody is not in the right mind. And he was on something. And it was weird because the game had just ended like minutes before. What did he do? Either he was on something the whole entire game, like Keon Clark, or I'm wearing his jersey, by the way, Keon Clark, or he did something right after the game and like went maybe walked off this side and did a little rail and came back out or something like that. I don't know. Either way, he got in trouble with the drug thing. He tried to say it was like a poppy seed thing and that he got a false positive because of that. I don't know. Something's not adding up there. Now, yeah, he's done very well. And he was on Westchester Knicks most of the time. And we see him later this year because he's still on the Westchester Knicks. But yeah, Jalen Harris it's a cautionary tale. It's a cautionary tale. And of course, I always recommend the YouTube channel Stunted Growth. Stunted Growth is a fantastic basketball YouTube channel where they analyze different players and why they didn't pan out as NBA players. And they do different levels of it. Like they'll talk about like Kevin Durant and should he have been better, like Stunted Growth, Kevin Durant. Should he have done better with his career in certain ways? Where did he go wrong? They'll do players that just didn't make it. There is one. What was one that they did recently? Oh, they did something on Paul George in the Clippers. Why did this not work? And they analyze everything about why the Clippers with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and all that did not work. And now Paul George is on the Sixers. So Stunted Growth, highly recommend it. And they do a lot they did one on Jonte. And what happened to Jonte this year? They said, what happened to Jonte? This is the cautionary tale of Jonte Porter. This is a great channel, guys. I highly recommend it. You guys will really enjoy it. I think he has one that he just put out yesterday on Kyle Sigler that's about what's going on with Kyle Sigler and his mental health issues right now, and also about what happened with his career in the NBA and why he got out of the NBA eventually, about 10 years ago, honestly. So yeah, that's a really good YouTube channel. Highly recommend. Stunted Growth. Kareem saying, I really like Jalen Harris, but we can say his name in the word sniff. We can't say his name in the word sniff in the same sentence. See, Kareem caught it too. So Smooth, since our dunk champion saw that you put that in there, and maybe you didn't mean to do it. You're getting a dunk for, an inside joke there. So Smooth, where are you? There you are. 72 on the dunk charts. You got a 5-pointer today. Naka's saying, this is what he's saying here. Hang on, it jumped. Let me make sure I get back. I'm not sure it was ever revealed what Harris did. Yeah, they kind of talked about it. There was a little bit, Gerald. It was something like he took in a banned substance. This is what they were saying, and the banned substance may have been some sort of HGH or some sort of like enhancement substance that was not allowed. But to me, I think he got banned because he was on air in a post game interview right at the end of the season. He was on the Raptors, and he was obviously intoxicated. That you could see it. You could tell that he was. You could all the signs were there. You don't have to be a drug and alcohol counselor or a police officer, and you would have seen him in that interview and be like, "That dude's toasted." And he's literally doing the post game interview on the court after the game ended, and he's absolutely toasted. And I was like, "What the hell's going on with this guy? Is this dude Keon Clarking? Seriously?" Seriously, Keon Clarking. That's right. But yeah, the official word was that he is taking some sort of banned substance, and it could have been like a borderline enhancement, like a PED, a PED of some sort. Let's see. Kareem saying, Lex, ginger and lemon tea, homie. Ginger and lemon tea. Yeah, I'm all about the tea when my throat's you know what it is? I get up and I need to do like vocal exercises before I come on the air and clear my throat. And that's what it is. I don't say a damn word until I come on the air and I'm like, oh, it was like, dude, you just woke up. Of course you got a frog in your mouth and all kinds of stupid shit going on. But yeah, I'll drink some more water. It's okay. It's just waking up. Waking up is hard to do sometimes. And I woke up at 9:10 this morning. So I've been up for, an hour and 20 minutes now. Hour and a half, actually, now, because we've been on the air for an hour. All right, let's see. Randolph is here. Beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Blessings. The fighters are those who are in the battle, victory or defeat. The fighters deserve the respect and honor, and those are the real heroes. I love this. I love this comment because, I'm going to get a little political for a sec here. The things that happened last week with the election in the United States of May, there's a lot of people in offices, in public office, and in state offices, government offices around the United States. They're very worried about this. Some of them went through the 4 years before of this administration that's incoming, and they understand exactly the bullshit that they're going to have to put up with. Some of them are resigning themselves, and they're like, I don't want to go through this again, and they're actually resigning themselves. That's why we're saying keep going. That's why we're saying keep going, because in some ways, if you want to keep democracy intact, you need to stay at your post and resist. This is very important. A lot of the governors of blue states have already said they're going to protect their states as much as in their possible of their legal protections that they can in their constitutions and within the system of the United States government. Because this is going to be an issue. This is going to be all out kind of crazy ass dictator kind of taking over, trying to put yes men in all kinds of places. He wants generals that will just say, yes, I will go and bomb a neighborhood in Pennsylvania for you. Turn guns on our own citizens. That's what he wants. That's what he meant when he said he wants generals like Hitler had. And once again, he's comparing himself to Hitler. So why do people think that he's not a Nazi? Come on now. So gratefully, there are leaders in positions in the United States that are in the military that very much want to protect the democracy and the great country of the United States from Donald Trump. And they will be resisting him. And this is why he was so mad during the campaign trail, saying that I want to have people that will say yes to me no matter what. And I will not defy me. So there is, even though there's a lot of power for him coming in with the Supreme Court on his side, and it looks like both of the houses of the Senate and the House are going to be working with him, but that may not be totally true. In fact, he tried to want to get the next Speaker of the House, the to replace Mitch McConnell. He wanted it to be Rick Scott, who is from Florida. I know Rick Scott very well, being around Florida. He's absolutely crooked. He committed the biggest Medicaid fraud scandal in the history of the United States, and they want to put him in charge of things like healthcare. No, this guy is a con artist, just like Trump. Well, he wanted him, and you know what? The Republican senators rejected the nomination of Rick Scott, and they put in their own guy, Jim Thune. So this is a good sign. There's MAGA Republicans, and then there's old school Republicans that have been around forever. establishment Republicans, and they don't actually get along. So even if he has a lot of majorities in the government, there's going to be Republicans that are fighting against him and not going along with what he's trying to do, even if he has majorities in the Senate and the House. The House is not totally settled yet. They're still counting votes, and it could very well be that the House is still possibly in the realm of being on the Democrats' side. The other thing is Matt Gaetz was going to be appointed for being Attorney General, which is absolutely a joke that this guy would be in charge of the law system of the United States. And well, they vetted him, and apparently he's got videos out talking about wanting to get with underage girls and talking about all kinds of crazy off-pocket stuff. So the dude actually officially resigned yesterday after, which is crazy because this guy had been around for so long and being a little jerk. And this is the outcome that gets him out. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on down there. And heroes will resist. Heroes will stay at their posts, and heroes will try to fight for democracy and keep it intact and weather the shitstorm that's about to come in January of 2025. So yeah, just a little political aside. There is some hope because there are people on both sides, Republican and Democrat, that do want to protect the democracy of the United States. And in some ways, it is compromised because money is buying elections, buying what happened down there. Elon Musk spent an absurd amount of money on winning this election recently. And, that we and paid for, do we? No, we wanted to represent the people and the votes that are cast. But I'm telling you right now, they paid so much money for smear campaigns and disinformation that a whole bunch of people that we like Cowboy, got duped and they got fooled because there's some people that paid a lot of money out there to shape their minds. So yeah, critical thinking is at an all-time need and necessary thing right now. And there's a reason why they don't want to put money into funding education, because stupider people are easier to control like sheep, is what's going on right now. So there you go. All right, that's my little political rant for that, because honestly, what Randolph's saying is what keyed off on me. You stay in your place. Keep going. People that want to be holding off Trump for democracy, you're much more powerful in your position still, fighting him off instead of waving the white flag and going home because you don't want to put up with 4 more years. Seriously, we need y'all to stay in there and continue to resist. We really, really do. Trevor's saying, real quick. We'll do Leo's life tip real quick. Leo's life tip for this morning. The kid from Kiel saying, let the refining and improving of your own life keep you so busy that you have little time to criticize others. There you go. I like that. Yeah, just stay in your lane. Figure out what you're doing and do what you got to do and, improve yourself. And instead of keeping up with the Joneses or looking around and saying, oh, what is this person or this person doing? No, just worry about yourself and don't be a busybody. And in some ways, don't compare yourself to other people either, because you're only doing your detriment to yourself. Comparison is the thief of happiness. If you're going to compare yourself to everybody else, you're never going to stack up in certain ways. And everybody's got their own special individual life. And some of the things on the outside may look like it's amazing and beautiful, and Facebook, social media, their life is so good. They're hiding a lot of the shit that they deal with that you don't know about. And it's the same thing. And you may have things that they don't have, and they may have things that you don't have, but it is what it is. Count your blessings and focus on your own shit. That's what I say right there. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Randolph. Thank you, Trevor, for the words of wisdom, guys. I appreciate all you guys. That's right. Trevor's saying they bring the kids from Africa who are really good at basketball and promise them a big name school. But when the kids get the USA, it's not the school was promised, and the whole kids' passports. They hold the kids' passports and make them stay there. Yeah, it's a dirty trick. It's dirty stuff. There's some parallels to the foreign workers here in Canada with some of that kind of stuff. The people they're bringing over here to fill in jobs. Some of the big companies and corporations in Canada have been absolutely abusing the system of how things are, and they are trying to change it in the Canadian government with temporary foreign workers. And it's a similar kind of flex. It's a similar kind of action with this. It's just that this pertains to the basketball world. Yeah, that's awful. Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch this documentary, Trevor. Yeah, they promised them the moon, and they give them the moon from a Lucky Charms cereal box. Is kind of like what happens there. Yeah, Brian's saying, what's up, Freak Nation? Might call in, laugh out loud. Got a few hot takes. You know what? I would love that, Brian. Oh, good morning, good night, afternoon. Hello, to the point. Give me a call right now, please, and come on the air and just go off. Let's do a to the point king rant real quick. You can rant on whoever you want. We're ranting about the Raptors being the worst team, ranting about Ulrich Shamshay and the promise of him, ranting about the Blue Jays today. Whatever you want to brand about, Brian, please call me. Please call me, King. I would love to talk to you today. You know, you're one of my best callers when you call in. You're very animated, and I like that. We need some animation, like little drawings and stuff. Let's see. Trevor's saying, so if the kids do not do what they want to them to do, then they threaten them with deportation. Yeah, I mean, it's a scary situation. In some ways, you know, there's something that's really evil out in this world called human trafficking. And I've heard some stories recently about the human sex trafficking trade in India and just how disgusting it is with young women and stuff like that, people selling their children into it in different parts of the world. You know, this is a real issue. In some ways, the right wing blows it out of proportion in certain ways to try and get you scared with celebrities and stuff like that in this country. But yeah, and it is happening in this country too on the down low, but it's not on the same scale as in other places. And in some ways, that's the really dirty, ugly side, really, really dirty, ugly side. The stuff that's happening in this instance with basketball players is a little bit less of a flavor that's so bad. All right, this is it. We got our guy, King. Let me see. Let me put you on speaker. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just know that you are locked in with the lyrical, linguistic Leviathan Lex on Raptors Freak. How you doing today, my brother?
Man, so happy to get the call from you, Brian. I appreciate you, man. I love you, man. I hope you're having a great week this week. And what's going on?
Well, I got a couple things. You know me, I'm always on listening to you, right? And I got to hear what Freak Nation's got to say, right?
Yeah.
When you were talking about when Trevor brought up the Africa thing, right? Remember the original movie on Disney, from Disney, called The Air Up There?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
But like you were talking about McClaw, right? I know from some people that have played in the AAU system in the state, they told me how it's very, very flawed. That's why they go prosper out in Europe, right? As a player, become a coach, right? Get into front office, things like that, because they say the AAU system really holds it back. And I feel bad for these African kids that come over here and are promised the world, but like you said, all they're giving is that Lucky Charm moon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they tell them this and this and this, and it's a bait and switch, and it's kind of like, you know, of course you're going to want to capitalize. It's the classic thing, like a young woman that gets off the bus in LA and thinks they're going to be an actor. It's that kind of thing. It's that kind of action. Exploitation can happen in that.
Casting coach much? But
yeah.
If you guys out there know anybody out there that is aspiring to become a player and they can't make the NBA, but they have the opportunity to go to Europe, encourage them. They can fully prosper. I've seen only positives from people I know that have gone through the system.
I mean, it could be scary going over there because it's a different world and a different country. And I hope that there isn't the same kind of action going the other way. Like, it could probably be like there are some people that get sold something out there. I mean, we got to think about Brittany Griner, right? And what happened with her, you know? So it could be.
But the other thing I want to let you know is like, I don't know what your take is on this, but for me personally, this in-season tournament thing and all my years of watching this game, it's horrible. I think it's just like, right? I take too much into it. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know. The other thing, I wanted to keep this quick because I know you got to respond to the other chats. The other thing too is I notice a lot of people online talking way too much shit. Tank, get rid of Darko, trade Scotty, all this bullshit. Everybody needs to. I'm gonna say it, Lex. I'm sorry, but everybody that's saying that needs to shut the fuck up. The Raps ain't at full strength.
Yeah.
And they watch when they all come back.
Yeah.
Watch that. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's all I gotta say, brother.
I want to say to that real quick, Brian. I think a lot of time that energy is coming from other people. It's not coming from people that actually care about the Raptors. And a lot of it is like they want to dislodge us and make us as unsettled and chaotic as possible. And, you know, the Scotty thing, obviously, that there's a lot of people that probably covet him to be on their own NBA team. So the noise about that kind of stuff is a dead giveaway when they say something, trade Scotty. Okay, this is not somebody who's for the Raptors, obviously. And I would say the same thing about fire Darko people. Same thing. You're not for the Raptors. If you're not going to give him a proper chance and you want to fire him so soon, that's not healthy for our franchise. Go ahead.
Exactly. I agree with you 100% because you know what? Like I've said before, Darko, second year, Scotty, fourth year. Like,
yeah.
This is the problem with some of the Toronto sports mentality. Like once a team loses, get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Tear it down.
Yeah.
No. Let's build. How many years it took for the Raptors to win the 2019 championship?
That's right.
To bring Larry O'Brien.
That's right.
Where it belongs, right? And then to like now we have to take it in again and rebuild. And a lot of these fans, the problem is a lot of these fans only became fans during 2019.
Yep. And they didn't see the long, slow climb that was when Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan showed up around 2012, 2013, 2014 to get to 2019. It is a process. And in some ways, these people want it so quick and fast, they can't be patient enough to let things go the way they're supposed to get there. So it's annoying. Getting back to one of your points, man, you're talking about the in-season tournament and you're not a big fan. What are the main reasons why you're not into the NBA Cup?
Because it kind of takes away from like the actual regular season in the building. It kind of puts more pressure on just like one single game, like in the middle of the season. What if your players are injured? What if things are going on outside? You know what I mean? Like, and then for the Raps having to play the first game at the end of a West Coast swing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like come on, man. Right?
Yeah.
It's like some of the way it's planned out. I'm just not. I don't know, and it takes space over the whole season. It's like, come on, right? Let's just worry about the actual Larry O'Brien trophy. I'm just not a fan of it. Anybody, you could disagree with me, and you feel free to disagree with me, right? But I'm just not a fan of it. I think it's just a side gimmick just to put people in the seats.
I think that you're right that as far as like they wanted to garner more interest earlier in the NBA season because so many people say they don't watch the NBA until the playoffs. And in some ways, they wanted to catch people's attention earlier in the season and maybe get them more in watching and ingesting like NBA games during this part of the season because there's a lot of competition between, college football and football in the fall. And, that I think that's part of it. I think that it's a good idea overall, but I think that they need to tinker with it a little bit more. I think that they're going to have to put the games maybe all together instead of spread out with games in between, because in some ways, some of these players are having a harder time going from this to this. In some ways, you could say, they should just be up and at the highest level for all games. But I think that it is kind of a weird thing where they're interspersed in between games that aren't in the in-season tournament. And Jack Armstrong actually pointed this out last year, that he felt like he thought that they should be all kind of together. And that way it has more of a feeling of that kind of thing. But Darko, he said in an interview recently, he's used to it being like this because in some ways they do it this way in Europe. So, man, I don't know. I'm not totally out on it yet, but there are things about it that annoy me, kind of like what you're saying. So, yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Maybe if they did take 2 weeks off from the regular season and just have an in-season tournament middle of the season, that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, they should just put them all in a row. They should just put them all in a row. And you're right. Just have a 2-week period where this is happening in the middle and everybody's involved in it. So it's kind of got a whole kind of playoff air to the whole thing. Because like right now they're doing them on Tuesdays and Friday nights. And, in some ways, there were games last night that were very intense and superstar full. But, the feel is different when you go to the playoffs. The intensity picks up. The people are watching more. And in some ways, maybe if there's like a pseudo playoff period in November for 2 weeks, all of a sudden at the end of November, that would probably work better, I think. So either way, you know what, Brian, anything else real quick?
No. All I want to say is, you know what? Thank all you Raptors freaks and the Freak Nation out there. Lex, the last video that you were on with me, we're over 1,000 views.
Nice.
Our are over 1,000.
Nice.
It's great to see all the Freak Nation, the To The Point family, everybody out there supporting each other. I know even those that should not be named even watched it. Some other snakes in the grass that are doing Raptor stuff.
Yeah.
They watched it. But it's good to see us come together and take care of it.
All the best to you, Brian.
And I'm here to support keep it going, buddy. I know you got a lot more in your chat. I'll holler at you, all right?
All right, man. Hey, and listen, I appreciate you and your Lithuanian producer coming in on the chat the other day. It was really cool to see that guy come in and talk to us the other day. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man.
All right, go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Have a great night and peace.
Peace out. All right. Yeah, we heard from To The Points, Brian, coming in hot with some really hot takes, a whole slew of them. Really good stuff. IST, all kinds of stuff. Adding on to Trevor's topic of today about the exploitation of young African basketball players. Really, really great call, Brian. I really appreciate you, man. You're an all-star for that. I'm going to give you a 10-pointer just for coming in and give me a call, man, today. That was really, really awesome. I appreciate Brian. As a content creator, I got a lot of respect for you, man, because you've been diligent and doing regular stuff all the time. So check out To The Point, y'all. T.O. The Point. Looking at Raptors and Canadian basketball issues on his channel all the time. Such a great show with panel and everything. And he's got cool shorts too. So if you find him anywhere, watch his shorts. They're hilarious with his rants and what he's saying, what's going on, stuff like that. It's awesome, man. That is awesome. All right, let me see where I'm in the chat. Let's see where we're at here. Fiercely saying, ooh, Brian, spill the beans. I'm all in. Yeah, I would have asked him about the dirt on Drake. I don't want to put him on blast exactly like that. You know, it sounded like he knew some things about Patrick McCaw, and he could have told us about a little bit more there. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Looking forward to it, Brian. That's right. Trevor's saying the NBA reportedly is preparing a European league that may end up being a rival to the Euro League. This is going to be so difficult. This is going to be so difficult. In some ways, if there's a market need that's already being met in a market, busting in there and being a competitor and trying to take it away is tough. Just ask Vince McMahon with the XFL. This is going to be so difficult. The Euro League is very popular and has a really good standing of a heritage and history. And I don't know, the way that Europeans are, they may be like, yeah, this is cool. This is the NBA and it's the NBA brand and the product, but the play may not be as good as it is supposed to be. And then maybe that they look at EuroLeague and the NBA EuroLeague and they're like, this isn't as good as the traditional EuroLeague. You know, it's very tough. In some ways, people in the United States are not that, you know, it's not the people in the United States. It's people in Europe aren't always like that into American kind of things. Let's just put it that way. And they could be very rejective of this plan. In some ways, this is the dream that David Stern had long time ago to build a league in Europe. And maybe the capital and the money is finally there for Adam Silver to actually financially do it possibly. But I don't think it's a smart move. I really don't. I think that the needs are met in that market for basketball in those kind of ways. And he's just being greedy and expansionist. And I don't think he would win in this battle either, because the Euro leagues are very tough with each other, and as far as like banding together and being a coalition. And that he may find a lot of resistance towards this, and it may not be as easy as he thinks it is. So I don't know. I don't think this is a good move. I think that the logistics of it and the quality of the product will doom it to fail. And it could very well be like the XFL for Vince McMahon. We know that he couldn't do anything to the NFL. Seriously. All right. We got our second caller today, guys. This is Blackhawk on the phone. Good morning, Neil. How are you, sir?
Good, my brother. How you doing?
So awesome to hear you once again on the show today. What's new in your world, Blackhawk?
Man, too blessed to be stressed. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean. That's awesome, man. I love to hear that, man. Once again, you know, we need, you know what, this has been a topic between you and me in the last month or so about Jamal Shead and playing on 905. You know, Blake thinks that he'll be used like Fred and be down there and helpful. But right now, because of the injuries for the Raptors, he is too necessary to be there for depth on the main squad. But yeah, I could see, because they didn't use him in media day in any pictures, Jamal Shead playing in 905 sparingly because of the injuries and his very good level on the higher level. But I think 905 needs him, to be honest. What do you feel about all this?
Well, they definitely need Carlton.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It would be great if they could get Shead. However, it's all about depth.
Mm-hmm.
As long, you know, the team, the main roster has to keep depth.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
yep.
You're not going to look at it and say, well, you know what? we really want him to develop on the 905 if their depth is seriously hurting in the main roster, right? Because they got to pay for seats, seats in the crowd, right?
Yeah.
So Shed and Mogbo are benefiting by the injuries on our roster.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Because even Mogbo, I definitely want to see Mogbo go down.
Yeah.
However, we're hurting too much.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen.
Not right now.
Unless you can get Kelly healed, Bruce Brown healed.
Yep.
Then these guys aren't going down.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because, we all want to see a repeat of what was done in the past. It worked for Fred VanVleet. It worked for Pascal. It worked for Norman, Chris Boucher. And I can go on. DeLon Wright, even he touched on
Jakob Poeltl.
Right? Jakob, come on. You can just go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
It is a success story.
Mm-hmm.
However, you have to have the luxury of a full roster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that's essentially what it's coming down to. So that's why I said we're 3 deep. It's not going to happen. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm 100% correct, because we could get all healed up, and I would welcome that.
I think that
welcome us,
because
nobody wants to see the team
sure.
injured like
I think that the setback with Emmanuel from the Laker game this Sunday really kind of like that for Shed was like, okay, wow, I am going to have to be on the Raptors for a while, at least for a month, while IQ is out. And I think that maybe the debate right here is the development better in a shorter stint as a role player off the bench on the main roster, or is it better for him to run the whole show and get like a full 30 to 40 minute run on the 905 as the starting point guard down there? Because some of us have questioned, is 905 actually helping some of these guys down there because it's so dysfunctional and weird and chaotic? And, in some ways we questioned with Grady last year if whether 905 was actually beneficial for him. And that's the thing I wonder about. So
it was. You have to look
yeah,
at
it
what
was.
the person is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Shed and I'm saying he'll be good no matter which place he goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when I look at Mogbo, I'm saying he needs it more than Shed.
Yeah.
Because Mogbo doesn't have an offensive offense game. I don't really want to say offensive. I'm twisted on it. But his offense really needs to pick up. And I think down there, they'll be able to focus him more, because he's really supplementary up here on the Raptors.
Yeah.
As opposed to
he's a glue guy.
A full guy. Yeah. Right. He's not really getting to take advantage of his talent.
I would say this and we've talked about this in the 905 chat during the 905 games on YouTube. We've got to temper our expectations offensively for some of our young bigs, and whether it's Shamshe or Mobo. In some ways, these guys really should go the OG way. They should be really focused on getting all the positioning and the defensive mentality stuff down first, and then the offensive stuff can be developed later on. But because I know you guys see these wingspans, you see these guys' bodies, and you're like, man, these guys could probably score and do all this and this. And we know.
No, they can't.
And
that's the whole point of saying they need to go to the 905.
Yeah.
You see, as long as you recognize the weakness,
yeah,
you can do something about it.
Right.
Right. If you recognize a weakness and then you still go on a tirade and say, "Hey, this guy ain't good, ship him out here," like that's not helpful.
No.
Right.
No.
What's helpful is saying, what is the correct way to develop this person?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like a good example of that is O'Shea. We're looking at a guy who
Boucher
looked terrible last year and phenomenal this year.
Yeah.
Right. Or Ochai. I'm not saying it properly.
Ochai is who you meant. Okay.
Yeah, we have to say when something is not working, is the Raptors going back to the drawing board, identifying these weaknesses, and coming up with an appropriate action plan to develop these players. That's the only way we should be responding, not trying to put a negative echo chamber into the universe about that player.
Sure.
Because if he's your player,
yeah,
what does it gain you to put him down?
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's your player.
Yeah.
So really what you want to do is for this guy to say, he's more valuable to you if he succeeds. He's valuable to you on the long term for the team, and valuable to you as a trade.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't look to say, like, even if I look at Porto, right, and a lot of people don't like Porto. Okay, I acknowledge that, but I don't want to put Porto down in the sense of, oh, he's shit, he's crap. No, that's not positive.
Right.
And what I acknowledge is that, okay, a lot of these people are saying this about Porto only for one reason, and one reason only, because he can't make threes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, not every center has to be the same.
Yep.
If you're not a 3-point shooting center, it's fine. You just have to be dominant in the post. Right?
Yeah.
So the only thing I say to Porto is get more aggressive. That's what you need to do when you're down in the post, because you need to make people fear you, so that they alter their shot when they see you. So if you can get like that, because he has had some successful determinant, but it still isn't aggressive enough to make them want to run.
Yeah.
You need to make them want to run.
I think he's feared. I think after almost 10 years in the league that he's got a reputation, and people know that they need to watch out for block up kind of coming to block them and stuff. I like your point though about, like, what's the point of sewering people and just like putting them down if it's not constructive criticism and it's not helpful? Because in some ways you hurt the stock of the player in the eyes of the league, and the perception around.
Saying, oh, I want to trade him. Well, you're not doing it the right way.
No.
Trying to butcher his name.
Yeah.
Because if you want to trade him, that means you're seeking some value.
Well, once again, I would say this, Neil, like I said to Brian, we got to look at the people who are asking for our guys to get traded and actually analyze whether they're for our team or not. And a lot of the noise about Poeltl getting traded, whether it's Raptors fans buying into it, it starts from people that are not for the Raptors, because they understand that Jakob Poeltl is our best big as far as defense and rebounding. And in some ways, when we play them, they're annoyed by Jakob and they wish he wasn't on our team. This is part of the reason why there was a lot of noise about Fred, because people hated Fred on our team from outside. And they were like, trade Fred.
I know you're acknowledging the outsiders, but I do acknowledge the insiders too. But the insiders are trying to say that they know 100% that the player has to be this way in order for.
Well, how do we know how do we know who's who? Because they could identify on social media as a Raptors fan, but they really aren't. That's the whole thing we have to understand online is, whether it's people acting like they're women, but they're actually men. There's all kinds of that stuff on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? So I don't take anything from anybody who says anything on social media only by what they're saying. And if they are dissing Jakob and they're saying that Jakob needs to be traded, I'm like, this is not a Raptors fan, because
listen to what they're saying. They're saying that there's only one type of center. There's only one type of point guard, and that's not true. We know you have different types of point guard. You have different types of centers.
Yep.
You have different types of power forwards.
Yeah.
The point is they're stereotyping and saying that center has to be only of this type. Well, that's wrong. You can't have all Jokic's in the entire league.
It's the Steph Curry effect to a degree. There's a lot of young people that grew up in the league of Steph Curry, and they overvalued the 3-point shot. And they bought into some sort of weird motto that everybody in the court and the league has to make threes at this point. And there's some diehard Raptors fans that just really believe in this. And it's absolutely stupid. From an old head like me.
That's what I'm saying. It's not only people from outside, it's from people from inside.
Yeah.
With a different, how do you call it?
They're in some ways they have a different experience length of time, as far as they've only seen the NBA in their lifetime, and they haven't seen like overall, and they don't also in some ways they're not realistic about what it takes to win in basketball. They're really not. Neil, what a great call today, man. Anything you want to add right here at the end, my guy?
Going on with the pay, I typed it into the chat there. When you're looking at McCaw, remember this is a guy who made $18 million in contracts already off of the NBA.
Oh, okay.
So if you take away the taxes and all that, he at least has around $9 million.
Okay.
Right.
So he's good. So he's like, he doesn't care that he gets paid peanuts in the G League because he's already got a fortune.
No, because he could be living comfortably for all you know.
Yeah.
Because remember what they used to say about Kelly Olynyk when Kelly Olynyk was first in the NBA. They used to say this guy would come in and make sandwiches and live off of this. He wasn't going out there and spending elaborate.
Yeah.
You don't know who these players are.
Yeah.
Some of them could be very frugal.
Yeah.
With their money.
And their value system could be that, like, I've got all this money. I don't really want to go and play overseas. I'd rather be close to my family. And yeah. Yeah, and it could be very well that McCaw's got people near Delaware or something, and it's really nice fit for him with his lifestyle.
Exactly.
So yeah, that makes sense.
And you got to remember, the base salary is $50,000, but they're not getting the base salary.
They get bonuses. Yeah.
Right? Because they did their Exhibit 10. He probably did an Exhibit 10 every year, and he said, "Okay, I'm clearing over 100,000."
And they also get bonuses for like winning the tournament cups and even the G League championship. So
all incentives to win.
Yeah. All right, Neil. Dude, man, I hope you can come to our basketball the game we're going to go to at 9:05 on December the 8th if you can. What's that?
Is it this weekend?
No. December the 8th. December the 8th. Yeah, if you can.
This weekend is my daughter's birthday. You remember the one?
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday to her. That was so awesome to meet her at Monique's birthday party. Yeah.
So it's not this weekend. So we're good.
Yeah, if you can make it, man, I'd be awesome to see you guys again and go to a G League game.
I'm down far, right?
Perfect. Especially the 905 peeps. Definitely come down the street and go to Paramount on December the 8th. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And as I was saying to you in the chat before, the parking is free down there. So
okay.
Everybody comes down there.
Perfect.
They don't have to worry about, unlike, going to the Rapids.
Of course.
Parking. No.
Downtown, yeah.
Park your car and walk on in.
Yeah.
Pay a little fee and go. You can pay for it online anyway, right? So,
right on.
I've been there before, so it was pretty nice.
Perfect. All right. Well, you'll have to show me the ropes around that arena and what's going on down there for that game.
Down, man.
All right.
But it's a good view anywhere you get. They have this area there where if you want to pay like a VIP or something like that, you can be on the floor. So.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Maybe it's affordable and it may be worth it to do it or something like that. Either way, man, Neil, I hope you have a fantastic birthday weekend with your daughter. And I appreciate you, man. RFF forever, man. And I appreciate you, Blackhawks, so much, man.
All right. You take good care of yourself.
All right. Blessings, man. And thanks for watching. And thanks for your input, man. Awesome. Really awesome second call, man, from Neil. Take care, man. That's cool, man. All right. 2 calls in so far. The phone line is open. If you have access to the number, you can be the next caller on the air today. Fantastic stuff, Neil. Great insight. And thanks for talking to me about, a lot of different stuff there. You guys have been covering a lot of topics on these calls, Brian and Neil. Good stuff. All right. Let me see. Where am I in the chat? I want to keep going here. Here we go. We'll go right into the next call here. All right, caller, you're on the air. Raptor Freak channel.
I'm telling you that it's like watching an old Chinese kung fu flick because I'm just seeing you answering the phone on the screen right now. What's going on? I see more paper out here in Alberta.
What's up, Sheriff? The Sheriff holding it down in Calgary, Alberta, Canada for us. What's going on, City Slicker?
Damn, it's tough watching these Raptors, man. I love them. I love them since '95. Original fan here, but it's just been tough, man. Especially yesterday when I was watching the chat and you said, we're on trajectory to get only about 12 wins.
I know.
It hurt my heart, man. It's like, damn, bro. But it comes with the course. We're a developing team, and my look on the team right now, we got one scorer. I think that we got one scorer. It's great. The rest of the guys on the team, they specialize in other areas of the game. Bruce Brown is not a scorer. He's a defensive player. Davion Mitchell's not a scorer. He's a defensive player. Jakob Poeltl, I would say he has both traits. I wouldn't say he's top-notch offensive player, top-notch defensive player, but he's good on both ends of the floor. And same with Scotty. He's more of a ball.
No, you don't think that RJ's a scorer, Seymour?
You know what? He's looked good with the ball in his hands and distributing it. I think he's more and that's what's tough because we got a lot of players in that position already. Like Scotty has that role, IQ has that role, but at the same time, IQ is more of a new style point guard because he can shoot. He's
hybrid
Curry type, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. We're in a tough position with this team, man. I think there's still the front office. I think the coach is still just trying to figure out like the best roles for everybody.
I think
You know
that
what I mean?
I think that there are more than just Grady for scorers. I think that it's just that in the last game we just had, Grady was the only one that flourished in the defensive system of the Bucks. That a lot of people needed to do things in the paint, and Brooke Lopez was just such a brick wall on Tuesday night that it really stymied somebody like Jakob or RJ. And that Grady, because he's able to get his shot anywhere on the court, was the only one flourishing, and that was the problem there. And in some ways, maybe if RJ was able to call his own spots all over the court like Grady, then things would have been better. I really think he should have taken more mid range on Tuesday, RJ Barrett, to get going. I know I said that yesterday.
Somebody said they shut him down by having him going lateral on the court instead of that downhill motion.
Yeah.
And that whoever said that, they were on point with that.
Yeah.
When he is going downhill towards the net, he's unstoppable.
He's a bull. He looks LeBron like in some ways when he's a runaway train coming at the hoop like that. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
RJ needs to polish up on his shooting a little bit more. He needs to keep at it. He'll get better. He'll get better at his shooting.
I think he's a natural hooper scorer. Like he likes to he fills it up. Like he really can like put the ball in the basket in some ways. But his threes have gotten better. His free throw shooting needs to be more concentrated, I feel like. But otherwise, I think he just had one bad game, and it was the matchup. But he's been so solid and steady, and his numbers are up from New York and Toronto, that we shouldn't complain too much about RJ right now. I think it's just that it was, maybe Giannis is not a good matchup for him to be around, because Giannis is quick enough with the long arms to really kind of shadow him and just not let him operate the way he likes to. So
yeah, and the defense is definitely honing in on him.
Oh yeah,
no
Scotty. Yeah.
So the defense is honing in on him. But like Grady, to me, man, I don't know, bro. This guy he's amazing, dog. Like he can do it all. Like if you just look at Grady as a shooter, this guy will put the ball on the floor and take it to the net. If you think he's just gonna take it to the net, he can hit that mid-range elbow jump. It's like someone put DeRozan and. Because when I see him hit those mid-range shots, the first thing I'm thinking is DeRozan. I'm like, man, this guy must have studied some DeRozan tape.
Yeah, Kobe kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, though he could ball, man. He could ball.
Yeah, I'm expanding my idea of what actually Grady can grow into becoming in the NBA, like into more like wow, and I can, and this has been kind of like the clue was Masai. Masai keeps saying Scotty and Grady are a big part of our future. He always includes Grady as like saying he's a part of our future. So I know that they really covet and value Grady, and hopefully in free agency decisions and things like that, they're going to be able to tie him up and keep him in the fold with us, because he's going to be highly sought after around the league by other teams, and we need to brace for that. But Masai's given all the signaling that the front office values him, and that we will be trying to retain him as his career goes on. So that's a good sign at least. But he always says the future is Scotty and Grady, those two guys specifically. So anything else going on today, Seymour?
Yeah, I want to ask you, so on a time frame, when do you think we're going to be able to see this, like the roster being healthy, and we get to really get to see real Raptors basketball? Like if you had to put a time frame on it.
Well, it's really interesting because it kind of is going to coincide with the really tough strength of schedule that we've dealt with this year. I think that what will happen is we're going to go through this really hard part of the schedule, which is really when the NBA Cup finishes, when it'll be over. And on the timeline for Scotty and the timeline for IQ, they'll be back around then. So I'm thinking it's going to be like just right around when the NBA Cup finishes, and we're just before Christmas. We'll hopefully get an early Christmas present, a barbecue, being fully healthy, knock on wood. And these guys all showing up and being full strength Raptors around then. And then hopefully we get really good luck with injuries for the rest of the year and not having any. And we get a nice long run of very, very good Raptors basketball where we're collecting way more wins than 12. That's what I'm hoping for. So
are we we still shooting for a play-in or anything like that, or you think that's out the window?
I say we do whatever where the wind blows. As far as if things are just going like they are, we continue to have injury problems. Well, we go ahead and we get into like the high lottery. But if I don't want people to get mad if it seems like we're switching directions halfway through the season, because Raptors fans will be like, oh, I just want them to all out be like this. But they get so weird. They're like, you've been losing already all along. Now you're winning all of a sudden. What the hell, Raptors? Stop doing that. You know, I hate that mentality. Let these dudes do what they're naturally going to do and stop having preconceived notions about what the strategy that the front office and the Raptors as a team should be doing. Because honestly, let's allow for whatever they're going to naturally be. And if they end up being a play-in team and they actually sneak into the playoffs, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing because they are getting the experience as a young core. And that's probably more important in some ways. So, all right, man. Dude, anything else? Have you had any more Raptors 30th anniversary ruffles?
Yeah, I found the big bag now.
Nice. Nice.
They got the big bag. I don't know if you tried the jerk chicken legs chips too. You tried those?
No, but those aren't 30th anniversary, right? Those are just jerk chicken legs. Man, I got to get to a 7-Eleven as ASAP. I got to get some new chips. All right, City Slicker. We love you, man. And Raptor Freak family forever, my guy. And thanks for holding it down in the middle of the country for us, Sheriff. You know, we appreciate you, man. Yeah, man. Let's go Raptors. And let's get some W's more than 12 this year. That's what I'm saying.
Facts. All right, yo, love from Calgary all the way to Scarborough, man. Y'all already know what it is. Peace.
Right on, man. All right. Awesome, man. We're getting some great calls today from all over the country right now. Calgary checking in with Seymour Pape. Love it so much, man. So good. All right, where am I in the chat? Let me see. Here we go. Carlos saying, oh, man, I remember buying that Ohtani to the Blue Jays garbage. Yeah, that was annoying. Robert Herchovic. That was annoying, my guy. Kaz is here. Trucker Kaz is here. Good morning, everyone. Trucker Kaz 10-4. He's on the road because it's the weekday. That's right. Mischief is here. The base man. Raptor Freaks. Who should we draft? I say Ace Bailey or Igor Demin. His name's almost denim, like the clothing. Interesting. I don't know Igor. I do kind of know Ace, but it's not 2025. We will scout these guys when we get into the calendar new year. I will be doing all my scouting for the draft at that point. But these are early names I'm hearing from the base man. He did this last year too. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. Smooth saying that E.T. made him cry. E.T. the extraterrestrial manipulated his emotions just like Steven Spielberg wanted it to happen. Yeah, it's sad when Elliot is saying goodbye to E.T. at the end of the movie. And he says, be good, Elliot. If anything, it's like a word of wisdom right there from E.T. the extraterrestrial. Be good. How about that? In your life, be good. If you have a choice to be bad or be good, just be good because E.T. would want you to be. All right? That's what it's saying right there. Raynaud's saying, Lex, these immigrant athletes may do well to choose Canadian sports teams before Trump's mass deportation. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be targeting basketball players come from Africa, but we definitely know there's a certain class or a certain category of people that are in the United States right now that he is going to be going after. And that's unfortunate. Is of course, Latino people from the South is mainly like, I'm wondering if he's going to mess with Canadians. Like how many illegal Canadians are across the border? Is this a very racist mandate? Donald Trump, are there going to be any Canadian people down there that you're coming to knock on the door with ICE just like this? Because in some ways, I mean, if you're really being fair and balanced, I mean, is it by the color of the skin that you allow people in your country? Seriously, because, there were travel bans you had for a while there against Muslim countries, and in some ways, if you're going to target immigrants that are illegal, are you going after all of them, even the ones with my skin tone? That's what I'm wondering, Donald. Or is this just a vehicle for your racism in some ways? Because that's what I'm wondering right there. That's right. Kareem's saying Charlie Brown box score doesn't indicate the bullshit and selfishness on the court. Good grief. That's right. I mean, seriously, the dude is just not. There's one point in the game last night where he was closing out on a three and he ran. Like, have you seen in Seinfeld the person that walks with their arms straight next to their? He ran at the person to try and close out on a three with his arms directly down the side of his body. Did not raise them anywhere near. He ran at him like this, and he didn't do anything. The guy made the three. I'm like, that's a lazy ass player. He can't even be bothered to raise his arms on a closeout on a 3. Seriously, look at what are you doing with your life, Charlie Brown? No wonder Lucy took this football away from you. Jeez, seriously, man. Woodstock's over there cussing in his little yellow bird language. You know how Woodstock would always be cussing? Do you remember that from Peanuts? Why is that little bird cussing all the time? Like that little bird would be going off epithets and all kinds of colorful words and stuff like that. Snoopy's the only one who knows what he's saying, though. And Snoopy's like, yeah, that's my buddy Woodstock. Yeah, he's got filthy mouth. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Woodstock on the court last night, cussing at Charlie Brown. Like, what are you doing out there, Charlie Brown? Running with your arms straight down like Seinfeld in a lane. You know, what is that, man? Come on now. Kareem saying E.T. did freak me out a bit. I'm 40, but I love Gremlins and Chucky. Yeah, Gremlins was another one that scared the hell out of me. You know, those movies by Steven Spielberg, they made PG-13 come about because these were not for children. No. Parental guidance was not enough. You need to be 13 to watch them because they would scare the hell out of you. Gremlins. Oh, Gremlins, man. Yeah, they had original cuts that came out originally that they changed. There was original cut that came out and the Gremlins like absolutely terrify and torture a woman on it. And they cut that part out because it absolutely scared the shit out of kids in the theaters when they went and they had to change it. They had to make a cut to the movie because it had some stuff that was absolutely changing kids' lives with horror. Really horror. Blackhawk saying, remember McCaw had big enough contracts on the Raptors. He could have saved a good amount of it. That's probably true. You guys are exactly right. Yeah, Neil, thanks for the call. And yeah, elaborating on that more. McCaw made around 18 million, take away taxes, and he probably raked in 9 million, pay off the agent, and he's cooking with Kraft macaroni and cheese. Yeah, I could see that. You know, that totally makes sense. And in some ways, you know what, Patrick, maybe he values being in the stateside more than money. And that, you know, because he could, some say his earning potential is overseas, though. He could be making so much more money in an international league. Well, he doesn't value that over being home and being close to people that he loves here. And, he doesn't have any worry about going into a Russian jail cell for some sort of crazy ass reason or something like that. That totally makes sense. Carlos saying Keon Clarking. Yeah, can that be a new verb? Keon Clarking. Don't be over there Keon Clarking, y'all. Don't be Keon Clarking. Smooth saying some women are shaving their heads and vowing not to have sex until 2028. Yeah, I've been hearing about this. Listen, I understand this. And in some ways, I'm not against this. I'm not mad at this. I'm not, as a man, threatened by women who are deciding to do this. Some people like really do have this mentality, like that college student in Texas that's gotten in big trouble for coming out and saying your body, my choice. Seriously, men got to stop thinking about women as objects and possessions and things for them to control. This is a big part of why, Kamala probably didn't win. Is there's still a very misogynist views on the underlying current of masculinity and men. That's just not right. Women's body is their right to choose what they want to do. And well, these women are choosing to protest in this kind of way for the 4 years of Trump's next presidency. I applaud them. I have no problem with this. I mean, first of all, I don't live in the States, and it's not like I have this crazy egotistical male mind that's saying, oh, this is women that won't have sex with me now. That's part of the problem. There's male ego out there that's like, oh, these women they're going to do this? How dare they? And then it makes them want them even more. It's like, no, this is a really good political statement. And in some ways, it's one way to protest and make a stand in some things. I applaud them. And if they want to make this personal decision for themselves, that's their right. That's their right. Freedom is freedom. And the freedom to make this decision for themselves is absolutely important. And what are you going to force them to have sex with men? What are you going to do? Like, what is this, Handmaid's Tale already? And he's not even in office? That's what I'm wondering about. That's what I'm wondering about right now. Neil saying, remember with Exhibit 10 signings, the players get bonuses that get them more than the 50,000 base salary. We went over that on the call. Carlos saying RHJ is getting 70,000 per month in the Philippines. They just want a chip there. You're talking about Rondé Hollis Jr. or Jefferson or Ron Harper Jr. There's two RHJs. You can't do this to me. You're half-assing because I could say Ron Harper Jr. or I could say Rondé Hollis Jefferson. I think you mean Hollis Jefferson. I think you do. Neil saying Rondé Hollis Jefferson definitely got paid, but definitely wants to be near his family. Rondé loves the kids. Yeah, okay, you guys are talking about Rondé. Yeah, Carlos saying I wish NBA would give Rondé Hollis Jefferson another chance. He's balling out in Asia. Yeah, he's gotten quite a few chances in the NBA. I don't know. The thing with Rondé is that he is undersized for his position, and there are some issues with him in the NBA defensively. When we had him on our team around Tampa, he was very useful, and he did have some good games for us. He was very, very fun to watch. But man, there's some things that just don't translate to the NBA size and speed with Rondé, and that's part of the reason why he hasn't been in the NBA in recent years. That's a big part of it right there. Let's see. Smooth saying, all right, Rondé 70,000 a month. Is that verified? Yeah, you guys need to put in a Rondé and more than RHJ, because I do think Ron Harper Jr. when y'all put that in there. He's saying, no, man, that can't be real. Are you serious? Rondé 70,000 a month. That could very well be true, because honestly, the Philippines are big time with basketball right now. And if he's in the top league in the Philippines and there's money generated because people are going to those games, yeah, he could be making this amount of money a month, 70,000 a month, because it's like that. Why do you think Dwight Howard's over somewhere in Asia right now making some money? You know, there's different players that have done this and made huge amounts of money. So this totally makes sense to me. Philippines is a burgeoning basketball market, and it's supported pretty well right now as far as people really love it and they go. Let's see. Carlos saying, yeah, it's being reported by a sports podcast in the Philippines. Okay, interesting. That makes sense. That makes total sense. Basketball is huge in the Philippines, number one sport in that country. And that's one of the 4 countries in the world where basketball is number one. You guys want to know where the 4 countries in the world that basketball is the number one sport? You know, Canada's number one sport is hockey, right? The United States, it's American football. Well, the 4 countries in the world that the number one sport is not soccer, is not cricket, is not baseball or American football or hockey. The 4 countries are the Philippines, China, Estonia, and Lithuania. Those are the only 4 countries in the world that have basketball number one national sport in their countries. My homeland country, Estonia, has basketball number one. Can you believe that? It's over hockey in that Baltic state. And same thing with Jonas's country of Lithuania. So yeah, those are the 4 countries in the world that basketball is number one, not soccer. You see, because a lot of countries, soccer is number one, and it's like more important, you know. Let's see. Andrew saying, I feel like Oshai is the most likely to become similar player to OG. Yeah. I mean, all these guys could do benefit from being more like OG. Obviously, OG jumping into the crowd and almost landing on Anne Hathaway's lap in the game recently. Pretty funny. Some people are saying he did that on purpose because he just wanted to run up on her. She's a little bit blushing after OG jumped up on the counter and said hi. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Playing in New York. OG's awesome. We love OG. Yeah, it's funny. I think that Shamshe, Mobo, if they could be more like OG in their development and starting off with the defensive stuff, that'll be more important for the building blocks later. Trust me, because they want to get that stuff down early. And then you don't get too focused on offense early. You know, learn the defensive stuff, because these guys could be really, really good defenders, top level defenders in this league if they do it the right way. Smooth saying, well, all due respect to the Asia leagues, that's C-level stuff, man. C-level stuff. C-level, like the sea. Are you making a joke there? Like sea level? I don't know. Rising tides and water levels because of the melting ice caps. Is this what you're talking about here? I don't know what it's saying right here. Carlos saying, fair point. He looked good in the FIBA games too. Yeah, they were calling him Jordan for Jordan. Like he played for Jordan. He was like the Jordan for Jordan. He was like Jordan's Jordan or something like that. He was playing like Jordan for Jordan. Yeah, I forget how that went. Like Rondé Hollis Jordan or something like that. I don't know. Let's see. Smooth saying, I think Rondé got blacklisted, man. I mean, that could be possible. Players do get blacklisted from the league and are not allowed to play. Not so outright like Jonte. You know, that's for sure. Blacklist. But yeah, I wouldn't like to think that's not true. But who knows? Who knows? That could be true. Who knows? Smooth saying he got on the wrong side of the power brokers in the NBA, in my opinion. Okay. I didn't know that. Maybe you know something on the download. Call me up. Tell me what's up. Seymour saying Kobe in Asia. Big up to Rondé Hollis Jefferson. All right. There you go. Left-handed Mamba. That's right. Yeah. They have comparisons to Jordan, comparisons to Kobe. It's very interesting. Kareem saying, laugh out loud. I thought Black Seymour sounds just like him. I'm stupid. No, that was Seymour Pape calling in on the third call today. We have Brian, Neil, and Seymour today so far. Yeah. Yeah, Carlos saying I couldn't find that 30th anniversary Ruffles in my local store. I love that very spicy one though, the jerk chips. I gotta find those too, man. I don't know why. I guess I'm not eating as much junk food right now in my life, so maybe I need to go get more junk food. That's the right choice, Lex. Yeah, you're middle age. You have a really sensitive dietary tract. Go ahead and eat more junk food, Lex. Smooth saying Seinfeld is the best, man. I love that show. You know that reference I'm talking about? People running with their arms directly next to them. Yeah. That's what Charlie Brown was doing on defense last night. I don't understand why he does that, man. Why don't you just raise your arms? Go, hey. Maybe you might even like mess them up on their 3-pointers. Because Skyhawks were making their threes like crazy. In fact, they had something happen in their game last night. The first time ever in their franchise history, the College Park Skyhawks came out and nailed their first 5 threes that they attempted in the beginning of the game. So they jumped out on us in big major way at the beginning of the game. Let's do the box score real quick. We'll analyze this box score from yesterday's game. The Raptors 905 shot worse than the Skyhawks, 43% to their 46%. We did get more shot attempts though. 84 shot attempts to 78 by them. Our threes, they had double the threes we had. They got 14 out of 37, shooting 38%, and we only shot 7 of 26 for 27%. So that's a big difference right there. Not doing well at the 3-point line. And then free throws, they got 2 more free throw attempts than us, and we shot 70% at the free throw line. Horrible. Well, 69% really. And they shot 73%. Rebounds even. We had 16 offensive. That's pretty good. 25 assists for the Raptors 905. It didn't seem like they were sharing the ball very well, but 25 is pretty good. 12 steals, 5 blocks. They had 19 turnovers. They didn't have as many as the other side. The other side started turning ball over way more in the second half, which was helpful because we had been coming back the whole game. They jumped out to like a 20-point lead in the first quarter, and then we got it down to 7 by halftime, and then we had it down to 7 still at the end of the third, and then we ended up losing by 6. So we shaved off 1 point over that whole entire time. That's no good. That's not taking care of the ball enough and executing enough and getting back on it. 52 points in the paint for the Raptors 905. They did win that category. So, yeah, just 3-point shooting, turnovers, stuff like that. Really big problem for the Raptors 905 last night in some ways. It's too bad. It's too bad. Let's see. Seymour saying at Carlo JS, if Calgary got them, then they got to be in your area. Yeah, we'll have to see. I got to go out there and find them. There's all kinds of 30th anniversary stuff going on with the Raptors and different product placements and advertising and stuff. There may be some other special 30th anniversary stuff. Actually, there's something that's come out on Instagram this morning that's very interesting, and I want to talk about it. First of all, here's the Instagram stories. First of all, Teresa Resch has been named most influential 2024 by Toronto Life magazine for her part in bringing women's sports to Toronto with the WNBA. So that's pretty cool. Teresa Resch, most influential, Toronto Life magazine. That's a very, very interesting accolade right there. Very, very cool. Let's see. We got the Raptors celebrating the Raptors and just kind of different pictures of them, showing Davion Mitchell giving them an off night, getting the steal, being dogged against the Bucks the other day. Gary Trent Jr., even though he didn't play well against us in the game on Tuesday, he woke up last night and had his best game as a Buck. And maybe it was seeing his past with the Raptors come through on Tuesday night. It woke him up and got him a kick in the butt because he showed up and actually had a pretty good game last night. So Gary Trent, I'm happy to see your health outcomes are a little bit better. And yeah, he was bombing some shots. He's actually got some highlights to show off in his Instagram stories against the Pistons. So happy to see that 127 to 120, the final in overtime over the Pistons last night for the Milwaukee Bucks. And Gary got the game ball. Gary and Giannis both shared the game ball for last night. So they actually gave a game ball to Gary Trent for what he did last night. Kelly Olynyk got the bench crew out there. Those guys all pounding around Kelly and them reacting to Bruno Fernando's big dunk on Giannis the other night. Dylan Disu's got a friend. He's got put on blast. It's a brother, I guess. It's his brother has gotten signed to Holy Cross. So there you go. Congratulations to younger Disu, who's going to go to Holy Cross. There you go, Bob Cousy. Here we go. There's Davion Mitchell's highlight of him stealing the ball from the Bucks in the game. He's got it on his own thing. He's got his hair getting done up. They're back in Toronto, so he's getting his hair done up right now. is what it looks like. And then there's some girl giving an apple or something. I'm not sure what's going on there. That's a little weird, that picture. Scotty is celebrating Bruno's dunk. He's saying results show towards, and he's saying that to Bruno. So he's very much a fan of Bruno and happy that Bruno's on the team and he's doing stuff for the Raptors all of a sudden. We are understanding why Bruno is a valuable player to our roster in the last few games. So he's also got Davion being dogged and taking the ball from the Bucks. That's the highlight everybody's posting on a lot of things. There's the dunk on Wubbs. Jacoby Walter posting both of those highlights also. Jamal Shed posting all of it too. As far as things, he's got a happy birthday to his friend, some Tarciano or something like that. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Top rookies are getting celebrated. Jamal and Jonathan Mobo, as far as Slim Duck, are celebrating, putting him on blast. Yeah, they got some good stats, and they are top rookies in the NBA right now this season. Let's see. There's Jay Nathan putting on blast too. There's a care package he got this morning from Serious Players Only. It looks like shoes and apparel for the company that he has a shoe deal with. Let's see. Bruno Fernando's got his dunk on blast. Of course, he should be putting that on blast. Very, very awesome dunk. He put it on twice. It was so nice. That's right. There you go. There's your Instagram stories. Now, the thing I want to talk about that's on Instagram is there's a picture on Raptors official admin of a statue that is up. It's a gold statue, and it's basically the dunk logo with Vince Carter's Raptor dunk logo. Now, it's not a statue of Vince Carter. It's not Vince Carter. It's the Raptor doing the dunk, but it's a gold statue. And I don't know if they're actually going to put it somewhere, but it's been revealed. There's a picture of it with RJ Barrett this morning on Raptors social media. And that's interesting to me. Oh, there's something interesting here. Scotty wore that yellow sweater the other night, and people were comparing him to Arthur. And so he said, nah, this is the same fit. He actually showed the little part where Arthur's gripping the fist. So that was his response. Like, he's mad at it. That's kind of actually funny that Scotty did that. He can't be that mad about it. In some ways, Scotty's a good-natured person. In some ways, he thinks it's funny, I'm sure. So yeah, I guess there is a statue of the Raptor doing the Vince Carter logo jam. And it's gold, and I don't know where it is. They've got our city edition jersey on blast today. They're showing it all in like a montage with people wearing it, Scotty wearing it, because they're going to be wearing it tomorrow night. There's that statue. Grady's with it too. I don't know what's going on with that statue. Where is that statue going to be? Is it going to be inside the arena, or is it going to be outside in Jurassic Park? Very, very interesting. There is a Vince Carter Raptor logo dunk statue. It's gold. It's gold. It don't look like no Dwayne Wade statue, that's for sure, because it's the Raptor, and you can't screw that up, can you? I think a sculptor could probably screw that up. I think they could, yeah. Let's see. Big ups to Estonia. There you go. Yeah, thank you for Estonia. Yeah. Smooth saying I would call, but working. It's all good, Smooth. Raquel Welsh, stiff AM girl. What? All right. Isaac saying some call it growing pains, but I like to call it growing wins. Have a wicked day, good people. There you go. Thank you, benevolent one, Isaac Campbell, for chiming in from the nation's capital of Ottawa. That's right. We're cross country, Canada. That's right. Isaac, thank you for that. Yeah, you could call in sometime too, Isaac. You got the number. You call into the show at some point. Let's see. We're going to finish up real soon, though. That's a sweet statue in Jersey, man. Yeah, I love the jersey with the Raptor dunk logo. And then, they have a statue that goes with it. And I guess they're going to unveil it tomorrow. So now Vince is going to be all crying again because he's going to be like, oh, now that I have a logo and the statue. And he's going to say that's his statue because it is his dunk, his creation. But technically, that's the Raptor doing your dunk, man. He says, I'm a logo now. Are you a dinosaur, Vince? Are you a dinosaur? He's like, I'm a logo now. It's like, no, that's the Raptor doing your dunk as a logo. This isn't Jerry West, my guy. This isn't Jerry West. So he's saying Raptors smart to make it all about Vince this year. Yeah, it's a good distraction. And in some ways, it's entertaining to a degree. I'm not upset about it. I'm not totally upset about it at this point. Kareem saying, I wonder if Vince going to call games for the Nets after his jersey retirement in Brooklyn. You know what? I can see this happening. And I was saying this last night in the 905 chat. Alvin and Vince have become they've struck gold with this combo. Them being on the broadcast together is really good. They play off each other really well. They have really nice chemistry and synergy. And I feel like he would, maybe worthwhile for Sportsnet to invest in him coming around and doing select games in the years to come. And if Vince is enjoying himself and wanting to do it, I don't see him doing it full time, like with Matt Devlin and Alvin. But on some games, if they want to have a 3-man crew, they should bring Vince in even past this year, especially if Vince is enjoying it and he likes the money they're giving him for it. He should actually really seriously consider being a part-time announcer for the Raptors on our broadcast. And I'm okay with it. I hated Vince 4 months ago, but now I'm really warmed up to him because of him showing ownership of being a part of the Raptors culture and history, and him being there for us. It shows that. So in some ways, I'd like to see this. Now he's probably going to do the smidge and switch, depending on which side of the border he is with how he calls things. We know Sam Mitchell's going to say out of pocket things about the Raptors south of the border on NBA TV down there. Well, Vince will probably be working for ESPN still, but maybe he does do like Sam Mitchell and he does part-time up here in the years to come. And it's part of that great chemistry. It's like a buddy movie, buddy cop movie, Alvin and Vince. And they're kind of good foils, like Martin and Lewis, like Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy, that kind of like goofy, like chemistry. There's a lot of that with Boogie Williams and Air Canada. So I love it because in some ways you got those guys together. They can reminisce about all kinds of crazy stories from their past and things that memories of playing together on the Raptors. And you just hear some gems sometimes. Oh my gosh, some gems. There's a No Open Gym episode that came out yesterday, Vince Carter legacy, and it covers his Hall of Fame enshrinement. And there's parts in it that are absolutely amazing. Top-notch job by Open Gym people. This episode is one of your best episodes in the whole entire history of the Open Gym series. This one melded the past and the new and the present together so seamlessly, throwing in old clips of the Raptors with Vince and Alvin on the court with Tracy McGrady, and then showing interviews with Charles Oakley and JYD and all kinds of different great interviews, Alex Wong, different people like that. Open Gym episode from yesterday is top-notch. I highly recommend it. And my favorite part is when they're in the car and Alvin Williams calls out Vince for not paying him back for the PlayStation 2 he bought him around 2000. They went to the mall in Eaton Center, and Vince had a credit card, and his mom had not unlocked it so that he could use it. So Alvin bought a PlayStation 2 for Vince Carter, and he said he'd pay him back, but he never did. And well, Alvin, 20 years later, is coming around saying, Vince, you never paid me for that PlayStation. You know that, right? He's like, what? What? I never paid for it. Yeah, you never paid me for that. You need to pay me for that. And Vince is like, really? Oh my gosh, I didn't. And he's like, I'll pay you, Alvin. Don't worry. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I want to see on Open Gym. Vince Carter coming around and paying his old debts to Raptors legend Alvin Boogie Williams. It's hilarious, y'all. Alvin's been on point. He's so sassy and he's so wisecracking these days. I love it so much. This dude is awesome. And that's part of the chemistry between Vince and him. Vince can be that straight man, and Alvin can be a little bit more funny and out of pocket with the stuff he's saying. It's really good. It's really, really good. So, yeah, watch the new Open Gym. It's highly recommended. It's really top-notch. And it's about Vince, and I liked it. So that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign right there. It's a good sign, man. Yeah. We'll have to see if Vince is going to call games for the Brooklyn Nets announced crew. I think he has in the past already. So that wouldn't be like something new. It wouldn't be. Let's see. Blackhawks saying we have a big history. Front office is just tapping into through VC. This will help when recruiting players. It helped with DeMar, apparently. DeMar DeRozan said partly in this interview, in this episode of Open Gym, he says, because they do interviews with everybody, and they're all coming in from all over the place. We see Corey Joseph talking about what Vince did to encourage him to play basketball. It's a fantastic episode, guys. It really ties it all up really well. And it's really well paced and shot, and just so much in it. It's so good. The thing about what DeMar said is that he partly wanted to become a Raptor because of Vince Carter, and that's kind of weird because he's such a real, true, I am Mr. Toronto, real one for our team when Vince wasn't. But the initial spark for DeMar to want to be a Raptor was Vince Carter in some ways. He let that be known, which is absolutely fantastic. So Vince has been helping us recruit players for a long time already. Smooth saying, I'm telling you, man, the fans down south absolutely love the Raptors blue and purple, man. Love it. The Raptors blue and purple. What blue? You mean just the purple? I mean, they love the nostalgia of it all. In some ways, life's been getting worse and worse. It's like we are all nostalgic for the 90s and the peak of humanity, which was right around the turn of the century at 99, 2000. It's all been downhill since then, as far as I'm concerned, whether it's the NBA, whether it's music, whether it's politics, there's so many aspects in life that have gone downhill since right around 1999. So when we see the old Raptors jerseys, it makes us remember of a better time. That may be part of the reason why some people love the Raptors retro stuff so much, because they're starting to think back, man, that was just a better time, man. Jordan was in the league. We had the league had defense in it. Media was so much better as far as movies and music. It wasn't all like, you know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Blackhawk saying we should have an alumni guest host randomly throughout the season. Give us JYD. He was there for the first game of the season. We got TJ Ford, Damon Stoudemire, and JYD on the first game of the season. They're going to try and have different alumni come through as much as possible. I'm pretty sure Terrence Ross is going to show up at some point. He gave the nod that he is going to come through on Twitch one day when I asked him. I said, the Raptors asked you to come through in the season. He said, yeah, they did. And he's like, I'm going to try and come up there at Raptors Freak and say hi to the Raptors fans at some point. So this is definitely in the plans. And I also like how with the practice interviews and the post-game interviews, they now have, instead of Gary last year doing all the outros, they got Raptors alumni doing them. TJ Ford, JYD, and Damon Stoudemire making appearances at the end of our practice clips on YouTube right now, which is fantastic. I love seeing those guys. They made me smile when I saw TJ Ford saying, y'all are watching the Raptors channel. Please subscribe to the Raptors channel on YouTube for your best Raptors content. Something like that. TJ Ford says, and I'm a big smile on my face. That's right. Give us Mo Pete. Yeah, I'm sure Mo Pete filmed one of these also. The alumni night. He was here with Vince Carter's retirement jersey with his dreads and his son, taking a lot of pictures. Hopefully they got those guys in there too, like Antonio Davis and D Brown, and got them in there to like do little clips like the one with Damon also. Yeah. In some ways, it's funny. You see like behind the scenes stuff at the Hall of Fame ceremony with Vince and Tracy, and they're talking, and it's hilarious. It's like, this is what Tracy, he's talking to Tracy, and it's the part where Tracy's saying, you're going to cry. You're going to cry. I know you're going to cry. And Vince is like, I'm already crying. And then it's like, he said, you know what JYD said to me, Tracy? And Tracy's like, what? He said, if I start crying up there, he's going to start barking in the crowd. And Vince thought that was the funniest thing. He started cracking up and laughing about that. Man, the Open Gym episode is so special and so good. And it really does encapsulate a part of our history with Vince Carter that's special and bright and positive. And in some ways, yeah, we're going to look over the exit and some of the ugliness and the whole legacy of Vince Carter and really focus on the good stuff. I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to get there more, especially since Open Gym gave him the treatment. Yeah, there's a second episode coming out soon, and it's going to cover the Jersey retirement night and all those legends there. I'm sure we're going to hear some crazy backstage stuff with Charles Oakley, Muggsy Bogues, and Kevin Willis and all those guys coming in. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see that. Love big. Give us Mo Pete. Give us Big Oak. I love seeing the alumni doing the outros. Yeah, it's awesome. It's very, very cool. Let's see. Neil saying this just feels right with the way the Raptors bring in the history over the season. What's the 30th anniversary, and they got to do this every once in a while. But next year, none of this distraction. Back to get more on a higher level of development and winning next year for sure. It's a distraction now, and we'll do this for now. But otherwise, no. Now, all right. Why is this truck trolling around back in my back lane? I don't like that. Are you gonna pull into my neighbor's yard? Like, look, man, that's not a public road. Seriously. That is a private laneway over there. I don't know why they're trolling around out there. I don't like people trolling around outside my house. All right, let's see. Let's do the wrap up. I'm over time, almost a half hour over, so we'll finish up real quick. The 905 lost to the Skyhawks. They're 1-2 for the season. They're going to play college. They're going to play Capital City Go-Go next. 2 games and on the road still. 5 games on the road to start their season. They haven't seen Mississauga yet. It's going to be a while until they see them. They're going to be back from the road not until next Wednesday. So it's not likely Jamal Shed or Mobo or any of them will play for the 905 in Capital City because of the injuries. And then they'll come around, and then maybe we'll get more of a flow between our 2 ways and our rookies with the 905 and the Raptors once the 905 comes from the road to start their season. So yeah, 6-point loss. My 3 stars of the game were Tyreek Key, Dylan Disu, and Ura Shamshe. Very, very good stuff there. I did that. We need to do the classic card of the day, guys. Let me make sure we do that real quick. Yeah, Kareem has just told me this. All right, let's see. We're right at the end of the stream, so should be pretty good. Okay, this is classic. That's good to see. It's actually classic. Oh, yeah, this is a fun one. Let's see who knows who this guy is. In some ways, I'm going to start from out here, and we'll bring it closer. First person to write the full name in gets it. Let's see who can get it as it approaches the camera closer. This is old school right there. Avery Johnson, Isaac's on it. That's right. That's the little general, the great point guard for the Spurs franchise. I love it, man. I love it, man. Avery Johnson is exactly right. Isaac Campbell can see Avery Johnson a mile away, and that's awesome. You know, because you got that so quick and from a distance, Isaac, I'm going to give you 150 on that one. That's pretty damn good, man. Isaac, that's pretty damn good. All right, Avery Johnson is the card. And Isaac Campbell's got it today. I love it. And a 150 for a skill on top of it. Yeah, he's a well-known player, but yeah. You said Boris Diaw? Birds Diaw? You're trying to say that's Boris Diaw? Yeah, no, that's Avery. Avery's under 6 foot, so this is a little guy. Little guy. I remember him. I remember him too. He was a coach for a little while. He's a very a celebrated Spur. Yeah, they like him in San Antonio. They do. I like him too. I was a big fan of his when he played for the Spurs. He was really, really fun in the playoffs and playing as such a little guy. He was an underdog, and you just felt like you had to root for him. You know what I'm saying? You just had to feel like you had to root for him. All right, guys, I guess I'm done for the day. I appreciate everybody watching me on the Thursday Think Tank. I appreciate everybody having the calls that came in today from Brian, Neil, and Seymour. I really appreciate you guys calling in and giving me some great points and opinions and things to say today. It was really, really fun on the Thursday Think Tank. The Raptors are the worst team in the league right now, but that doesn't mean we have to act like it. We know this is temporary. This too shall pass, and we will pass other teams and get higher on the standings very soon, hopefully. I don't think we'll be down here at the end of the year, honestly. I know I said the forecast right now is 12 wins. With this pace of winning that we're on right now, that's what it is. But this pace of winning could change a whole lot faster when Arthur impersonator Scotty Barnes shows up and he is doing his thing on the court with his fist tightening next to him. I'm telling you, IQ comes back, we get the barbecue cooking, and maybe the wins will come more at a higher rate. And that's what we need to see. All right. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow we'll preview the second in-season tournament NBA Cup game against the Detroit Pistons at Scotiabank Arena here in Toronto. And I'll have the latest lineup news and the ref report 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Actually, I'll be starting a little early, just so y'all know. 9:15 or 9:20 will be the start time for the stream on game day. You know that's how it is. Oh, yeah. He played for the Rockets too, Avery Johnson. Yeah, I don't ever think of him as a Rocket. I think of him mostly only as a Spur. Let me see on the card where else he played. Is like this has only got Sonics, Nuggets, and Spurs on it. And this is very early in his Spurs career because he was on the Spurs for a long time. This is only after a half season of him being on the Spurs. So he started with the Sonics. Very, very interesting. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join the channel if you want. Joining the channel gives privileges like being able to call into the call-in show. So get out there, touch grass, Raptorize your day like Nat Bhatia would. And let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors 905. Let's go Team Canada basketball. And let's go WNBA Toronto team also. I want to find out what your name is. What is your name, little girl? What's your name? Yeah, they forgot the Rockets. That's an error. Well, this was before he went to the Rockets, I think. I think that this is his early career. This is him after only 3 seasons in the NBA. So he went there. He was a Rocket before he was a Spur. Well, we got to remember this also. Avery Johnson had 2 stints on the Spurs. He actually went and left and came back. So I'm going to go look at this. I'm going to get to the bottom of this right now. Basketball Reference. It is a great website. It is where I get all kinds of great information. So let's go look at it. Holy crap, this guy played a lot of seasons. He was in the league for like 15 years. Seattle, Denver, San Antonio, and then he went to Houston, and then he came back to San Antonio. Then he went to Golden State. Then he went back to San Antonio and was on the San Antonio Spurs for like 5 years after that. So he was technically on the Spurs 3 different stints. So, yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was, man. Kareem saying, didn't he play for Dallas too? Yeah, I believe Dallas is on here also. Yeah, he played on Dallas near the end of his career and also Golden State again, right at the end of his career. He was on Golden State near the end of his career. Yeah. So, yeah, he was on quite a few teams. He was 10 years on San Antonio, 2 years on Golden State, 2 years on Seattle, 2 years on Denver, 2 years on Dallas, and 1 year on Houston. He only played 49 games on the Houston Rockets, 644 games on the Spurs. Yeah, long career, Avery Johnson. There you go. Yeah, there you go, man. Smith saying, no, he played for the Rockets before he was a Spur. I remember. Did you hear what I just said, Smooth? He played for the Spurs 3 different periods of time. So he was actually technically on the Spurs before he went to Houston. Then he went to it's all right here on the Basketball Reference. He started on Seattle. He was on the Seattle Supersonics for his first 2 years in the league. Then he was on Denver for a bit. And then he went to San Antonio for the 1991 season for the last part of it. But then after San Antonio in 92, he went to Houston for a very brief period of time. And then he came back to the Spurs in 93. And then he went to the Golden State Warriors. And then he came back to the Spurs again. We got to remember, Avery Johnson wasn't a normal contract player. He was a fringe player that was trying to make the league. And he was kind of bouncing around at that point. So it was kind of like, he wasn't getting set in any team. He was kind of just getting tossed around to different teams by who was had an opening. So that's what it was right there. Yeah. Yeah. Kareem saying, I'm not sure if I'm mixing up his coaching or playing on Dallas. No, he played for Dallas near the end. And I think he did coach also for them. Yeah. In 1990, he was a Rocket. I'm confusing the years. Yeah. I mean, he came into the league in 1989 and he played for the Sonics. It was 88, 89. Then he played 89, 80, 90 with the Sonics again. And then the next year, he actually was on the Nuggets and the Sonics. And then, the Nuggets and the Spurs. He was on the Nuggets and the Spurs. And then in 92, he was on the Spurs for the first part of the year. And then he went to Houston. So he was technically on the Spurs before he was on the Rockets. But he left the Rockets and went back to the Spurs. And then he left the Spurs again and went to the Warriors. And then he left the Warriors and went back to the Spurs again. So 3 times a Spur. 3 times a Spur. Yeah. Yeah. It's all good. It's all confusing. It's a long time ago. Cream saying, what a crazy career. Go Avery. There you go. And it's 2.5 hours. I'm out of here, y'all. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors. See y'all tomorrow. Let's go Raptors.